As mayor, I'll open this council meeting for June 1st, 2016, Oceanside City Council, Harbor District, and CDC. Roll call, please.
Mayor Wood.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Lowry.
Here.
Councilmember Curran.
Here.
Councilmember Sanchez. Councilmember Feller.
Mr. Mullen, please.
Thank you. Council meeting closed session to discuss item 1 on the agenda, conference with labor negotiator involving the status of negotiations with the Oceanside Police Officers Association, non-sworn, OFA, Western Council of Engineers, management employees of the city of Oceanside, and Miko. That was the last one I just said. Miko. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will get started. We have two portions of the city council meeting at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, and we'll get started now with the 5 o'clock with a roll call, please.
Mayor Wood.
Here.
Councilmember Feller.
Here.
Councilmember Curran.
Here.
Councilmember Sanchez. Here. And Deputy Mayor Lowry is somewhere in the building.
Thank you. With that,
Yeah, consent calendar items 9 and 16 have been removed from the agenda by staff. Therefore, all that is remaining are items 2 through 8, 10 through 15, and 17 through 21.
Move approval.
do you have a second? Second. Thank you.
No
Motion-
public.
Motion second on all of those, and there's no public. Please vote. By the way, for council, it is a long agenda, so we'll try to expedite a little bit this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Item number 22, thank you.
Yes, item number 22 is authorization to award a contract in an amount not to exceed $6,764,738 to Burtech Pipeline Incorporated of Encinitas for the Phase 1 Downtown Water and Sewer Replacement Project, approval of a professional services agreement with Nino and Moore of San Diego in an amount not to exceed $119,600 for geotechnical observation and testing services throughout construction, and authorization for the city manager to execute the agreements upon receipt of all supporting documents.
Hi, Carrie, thank you.
Good evening. I'm introducing Greg Kepler, who is our water and wastewater project manager, who will be doing the presentation. We'll both be at sidebar when he's complete.
Certainly. Anyhow, thank you for being here also.
Thank you. So, as Carrie indicated, my name is Greg Kepler. I'm the project manager here for the Downtown Water and Sewer Replacement Project. So the scope of this project, this is phase 1 of 5 phases of this project, includes replacing 2.7 miles of water pipeline. We're replacing several of the water services, water meters, fire hydrants, valves on the pipeline component of the project, and then we're also going to be replacing 1.7 miles of sewer pipeline, including the customer's sewer lateral connections for this project. And this figure shows the area in which phase 1 will take place. So the map on the left shows the area that will be encompassed by the water replacement component of the project, and the figure on the right shows all the sewer lines that will be replaced as part of this project. So we issued a call for bids. 10 bids were received on May 3rd of this year. Staff evaluated the bids and found Vertec Pipeline to be the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $6,764,738. And in addition to the construction component of the project, we also need geotechnical inspection services. So we issued an RFP for those services. We received 3 proposals. Staff evaluated those proposals and selected Nino and Moore to perform the geotechnical inspections. So regarding the project schedule, we will be starting work this summer, but that work will be limited to the Francine Villas area in the project area. We have a construction moratorium in the downtown area, so the contractor will not be allowed to start construction downtown until after Labor Day. We've started our public outreach efforts, and those include preparing flyers to both physical residences as well as property owners that aren't necessarily in the area, so we can capture rentals and timeshare properties. So we do also have contractual provisions in the contract with Vertec, so that we have flexibility in moving the project around to accommodate other construction projects in the downtown area. And the contract duration for this project is expected to be 12 months with the goal to finish this project by Memorial Day of next year. So this is just to recap the construction costs. So we have a construction contract of $6.884 million. The consultant's fee to do the geotechnical inspections are $119,600 for a total project cost of $6.964 million. This is going to come out of the adopted budget of the downtown water and sewer replacement program. So we're recommending that council award the project to Vertec and approve a professional services agreement to Nino and Moore and authorize the city manager to execute the agreements.
Thank you. See the sidebar. Public?
No public.
Back to the council. Ms. Sanchez, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did have a question to staff. We had 10 bids, 10 responses, and the lowest one, of course, was Vertec, but it went up to 11 million. Can you tell me, I mean, that's definitely, staff has reviewed that and said that this is the lowest responsible bid. Can you tell me why some of them went so high?
Well, I can tell you that Vertec just recently completed the South Oceanside component of this project. So I'll show you a figure here. It kind of gives the overall project. So the area highlighted in the brown section in South Oceanside was the component that we just completed. They were the low bidder for that project, so they have familiarity with the contract and the bid documents and the conditions in which they're going to be constructing the work. So I think that they obviously understood really well what the project was. I think there may have been some unknowns. There was not the same level of comfort that some of the other contractors may have had with the project when they bid.
And there weren't a whole lot of change orders then?
To my knowledge, well, yeah, we haven't had any. We had very few requests for information during the bidding.
In other words, they did one portion of the work.
Vertec has some, yes.
Vertec.
Yes.
And therefore they had this, extra knowledge.
They do.
And during that work, there weren't a whole lot of change orders that would indicate that they're just trying to underbid everybody, right?
Correct. In fact, yeah, they actually finished ahead of schedule and under budget on that project.
Fantastic. We'd like to hear that. I move that we make the award and also approve the agreements. Thank you.
Thank you.
A second, and Mr. Kern, please.
One quick question, since I see our soon-to-be city engineer emeritus over here. We have talked somewhat about doing our fiber optic Is there any overlap here? What I'm trying to avoid is digging up the streets twice. You know, if there's some way that we can, and I don't know what overlaps and what doesn't with this project, especially when we get to downtown. So are you guys coordinating? I take that as a yes when you shake your head like that? Okay. All right. That's all I needed to know. But thank you.
Thank you very much. With that information, please vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you very much. Item number 23, please.
Yes, item number 23 is approval of a professional services agreement with IBI Group of San Diego in an amount not to exceed $97,305 to prepare an addendum to the current circulation element programmatic environmental impact report adopted in 2012 and authorization for the city manager to execute the agreement.
Thank you. Scott? Good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Good luck to you in Irvine.
Thank you
In
very
case
much.
some of you didn't know, Scott's leaving us and going up to Irvine where he has family and friends and a good job. And this will be one of your last meetings, and please go right ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I start, I'd like to thank each of the council members and the mayor for all the courtesy and respect that you've shown me during my term at Oceanside. This item is the circulation element addendum. Mr. John Emerson is going to do the presentation. I'll be at the sidebar to answer questions with him.
Thank you. Howdy.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. The item before you tonight is the circulation element addendum, approval of a contract with the IBI Group. In 2012, staff had brought forward preferred alternative noted as the modified 95 circulation element alternative, which was adopted in 2012. We originally had brought forward alternative 1 as a preferred alternative in June of 2012. And alternative 1 essentially assumed that calls would be 4 lanes between Olive and Waring. North Melrose extension would not be constructed. It included the couplet and assumed Coast Highway was at 4 lanes. Alternative 2, which was not recommended at the time, assumed calls would be at 4 lanes between Olive and Waring. Both extensions of Melrose would be eliminated, no RDO interchange, no Paula Road connection, and it assumed that the couplet was not in place, so that Seagaze was 2-way, Mission was 2-way, and it is also assumed that Coast Highway was 1 lane each direction with roundabouts. And so we had adopted the modified 95 circulation network in 2012. Last summer, we received direction to amend the current circulation element programmatic EIR to bring forward alternative 2 as the preferred alternative. The table essentially highlights the key aspects of alternative 2 that we'll be bringing forward. Now, we're noting this as modified alternative 2 because there are several projects in the works currently that have happened between now and 2012 that affect some of the assumptions that are being brought forward in alternative 2. But essentially, State Route 76 will be maintained as 6 lanes. We'll eliminate the RDO interchange. College Boulevard will be assumed as 6 lanes for now. We have a current project EIR that's analyzing College Boulevard right now, and they'll bring forward a general plan amendment probably next year sometime to reclassify College between Olive and Waring as 4 lanes. It'll eliminate both extensions of Melrose Drive. It'll eliminate the connection of Paula Road, and we'll bring forward and assume that the one-way couplet is in place since the former redevelopment agency had done a general plan amendment several years ago to adopt that. And then also we'll assume that Coast Highway under future conditions will be maintained as 4 lanes. The current corridor study will do a general plan amendment as part of their programmatic EIR, and that'll be brought forward probably at the end of the year or early next year. So the staff recommendation is that City Council approve a professional services agreement with the IBI Group in the amount of $97,305 to prepare an addendum to the current circulation element programmatic environmental impact report. That's it.
Thank you. Seat at sidebar if you wish. And
No public.
no public. Back to us. Ms. Sanchez?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did have a question. I know I was contacted, perhaps others were too, regarding the Jeffries Ranch Road and whether we would be able to revisit the the study that was done that was provided to Caltrans to justify the potential for having, getting back the main entrance for Jeffrey's Ranch, which was Jeffrey's Ranch Road. What is the status of that? Because I understand it's not included currently, but that is something that we've been asked as a council to review.
Yeah, with respect to Jeffrey's Ranch Road, it wasn't a circulation element street listed for analysis, but it was shown on the circulation element map as connecting to 76. Caltrans has jurisdiction over 76, and per their requirements, removed that connection and made improvements to facilitate that. Now, we can certainly, as a city, modify our maps to show the connection. I'm not so sure that staff could, require Caltrans to restore that connection. Now, you might recall back when we did the traffic study,
That was the purpose and need, right, that we had to provide to Caltrans? Okay.
Yes, and we produced what we consider to be a viable option to restore the access there, and that was denied by Caltrans. But we certainly could revisit that, and that's not part of in terms of the traffic study and coordinating with Caltrans to restore the access. That's not part of IBI's scope, and we can certainly, include them in that process if that's the direction.
Okay, so that could be included later if we're able to get Caltrans to reconsider a new purpose and need, perhaps try to be more inclusive in that.
Yeah, I'd like to get some level of commitment from Caltrans before we invest the time and resources into pursuing that option.
All right. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and move approval. Thank you.
Do you have a second? I'll second the motion, but also I would like to see us maybe revisit the same location at Jeffrey's Ranch, but don't burn your time up. I know where Caltrans generally stands on that, but it'd be nice to revisit. Thank you. Go ahead and vote, please. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jack. I didn't see it on there.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you're for some open roads anyway. We're taking the Rancho del Oro interchange out, closing a possible escape route for the public, as well as diverting some of that traffic that comes through Oceanside because there is no Melrose extension, and that goes around and down towards the courthouse for the most part. So on Melrose, so the traffic. What you're actually creating is just contributing to some heavy gridlock as we go forward. So, I'm not supporting this just because of that. I think that we should be leaving this in our circulation element and be able to consider it in the future. So. That's it.
Please vote.
Motion approved, 3-2. Kern and Feller, no.
Thank you very much. Item number 24.
Yes, item number 24 is
Thank you, gentlemen.
provide direction to either issue a request for proposals to solicit advertising, marketing, and promotion vendors to sell advertising on certain city vehicles, or discontinue the effort.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and council members. The item before you is a RFP, a request for proposals for advertising on city vehicles. If you recall, the council directed staff to, based on an unsolicited proposal from a vendor, to look at and restore what had been in place in the late 1990s, early 2000s. Advertising on city vehicles. In researching the matter, staff also had conversations with other vendors, particularly those that provide advertising for North County Transit District in regards to the types and matter of different advertising. So the RFP for city vehicle advertising would allow the city to partner with a vendor to sell ads on city vehicles. We would restrict the types of ads that would not be available on police vehicles, fire apparatus, or ambulances. There are about 400 other city vehicles available, of which 80 of them are pickup trucks. These are just samples of the types of advertising that you might see if you go through with this proposal. As I mentioned, there was a similar program in the late 90s that's called Signs of Support. In researching the matter, we could not find any other California city that has a similar program. The only other agencies that we found are transit agencies similar to North County Transit District. If you notice, they have advertising on their buses, both inside, outside of buses, the trains, and also at their stations. The revenue that would come, and depending on the types and amounts of advertising, would be allocated to various programs that would include youth, senior, homeless, environmental types of programs. In looking at what we could potentially get, the estimate is about $250 a month per vehicle. If the city's share were 50%, with 100 vehicles, you'd make about $150,000. Now, clearly, if the number of vehicles drops or the area of the advertising were to change, those numbers would also change, so that we don't have a real good handle on what you would get until you issued the RFP and we received the proposals and had an opportunity to evaluate them. With that, we would ask that you either approve issuing the RFP or discontinue the effort if that's your direction. And we'll leave you with, if you notice, the upper left is a Vector truck, which we have several in our advertising, breast cancer, and then other advertising. With that, I'll answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you. Please see the sidebar, Peter. Thank you very much. Public on this one?
Yes, we have one member of the public wishing to speak on this item. At this time, Tracy Missett may come forward.
Good evening. Sorry, I don't know all the procedures for these meetings, so I was a little hasty in getting up here. I just came in to ask for a yes vote to put this out for RFP. My family started this. They were the Signs of Support company that started this in '97, and it was a really lucrative program. It helped the youth of the community. My husband and I were looking for something to be involved, give back to the community, and to specifically the youth. And we wanted to restart this program and see what we could do with it, seeing that the climate in the city is different. They're looking for other revenue sources. And so I was just here to see if anyone had any questions and just to represent the community.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
No further public on this item.
Okay, let's back to the council members. Ms. Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do remember this program, and a lot has changed since the 90s. A lot has changed. Since then, we have an agreement with Visit Oceanside for a lot of the city's advertising. We've really gone, just jump-started and just really got far with the advertising that we have, and the promotion for Oceanside via Visit Oceanside. We also live in a different kind of time. We live in a more techie kind of thing, where you have a lot of social media. People will look up, as have I, going to a city that I haven't been to, and I'll look and I'll see, okay, what restaurants and the stars, and there's a lot of reviews. So I'm not really sure that this is something that would work now. I do recall that, and thank you very much, Peter, for showing us that brief presentation, but what I recall was something like 30/70, that we only got something like 30%. And the one thing that I do remember are the Manchester ads, and we were in the process of that, and it seemed like it was more negative at the time, and I remember that it ended because it ended up not being feasible. So I'm not really sure that now is even more feasible than it was then. So I wouldn't be supporting this. Thank you.
Mr. Kern.
Thank you. I'm going to move approval. The idea that we're just issuing the RFP. Once we get the RFP and we get the numbers back, we can at that time determine whether that we're going to go forward with the project or not. I think it's an opportunity for the city, even though it doesn't seem like a lot of them. When you have a $136 million general fund budget, $150,000 doesn't mean a lot. but if you dedicate it to Parks and Rec or children program, that can mean a lot to a program. So I'm going to move approval to issue the RFP.
Do we have a motion second?
I'll second it.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much. I think I lost one of the things by accident.
Mr. Feller.
Chuck, were you on?
I was there.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I lost one by accident.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Good to be found. Mr. Weiss, I have a question about these images that are up here. Is this related to the proposal, actually? I thought they were just going to be tailgates on city vehicles, not a Vector truck or a wrap on a door or something on a window.
The issue that we had with staff is to put the RFP out to see what types of responses we get. If you want to restrict it in some way, you certainly can do that now, or you can do it after, as part of the negotiations of a future contract.
Okay. That's all. That was my only question. Thank you.
Mr. Feller, please.
So you will bring back what the RFP or contract or what you're asking for before it goes out?
If you approve the issuing the RFP, we would issue the RFP, receive proposals back, evaluate them, and then bring a final contract back to you for approval.
So what I'm asking is, are you putting requirements on the RFP, or is it just an open RFP?
Right now, it's an open RFP with the exception no police vehicles, fire apparatus, or ambulances.
Okay. My only other question was, do we have any idea what the revenue was in 97 to 202?
Well, we know the split was actually 75-25, 25 for the city. We do not know, nor can we track the exact dollar amount that we had received.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Ms. Sanchez.
Clarification, I thought that staff was recommending that they only be in the back and not wrapped, since we do have to have signage that it's a city vehicle. And what I had understood is that maybe just perhaps the water department trucks might be the ones that would be perhaps available for this. Madam Manager?
Councilmember Sanchez, Mayor, council members, we ended up writing the RFP in an open fashion so that we could receive proposals that may only include the pickup trucks or may include a more fulsome wrapping, so that we could see what was out there in the community. Doesn't mean we'd select it.
Right.
But it's written in a broad sense because we're not entirely sure what we might get.
Okay, well, I still think that this is a bad way to go. It's advertising. We've already kind of split up this community in terms of billboards, and I think this is something that is the same thing. So, thank you.
Well, thank you. I'd like to get what the RFP brings back to us, how many people are interested, what they want to do, and maybe the cost. That's important to me. However, we had it before. It worked. We got money back into the city. We've canceled our LED signs. That means we're getting no money, and we're requesting to build a pool and all these things. Get some more money from the outside to take care of things in the city of Oceanside, and we have quite a few of those things, so I support 100%. With that, okay, go ahead and vote.
Motion approved, 4-1, Sanchez, no.
Thank you very much. So, bring some of these forward. Yeah, closed session for city attorney.
Thank you. The council met in closed session to discuss item 1 on the closed session agenda, conference with labor negotiator, involving the status of negotiations with the Oceanside Firefighters Association, the management employees of the city of Oceanside, the Oceanside Police Officers Association, non-sworn, Western Council of Engineers, and the unrepresented employees. There's no action to report at this time. That's all.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Item number 38, please.
Yes, item number 38 is request by Mayor Wood to make appointments to or motions for removal from some of or all of the city's advisory groups and adoption of a resolution appointing Brian Boyle to the San Diego County Water Authority Board for the term ending in July 15th, 2022.
It's been put out to everybody, and the council, I support it, and I'll vote for the attached list. And we need to address the issue of the county water authority.
So,
Thank you. List is attached. Thank
well,
you.
I'll make the motion to approve all of them, except I am going to vote no on the replacement of Jimmy Knott. So all your recommendations except one.
Okay.
So,
Jimmy is out medically.
yeah, well, I got an email from him today. He's recovering. So
Thank you.
So that's the only one. The rest of them I'll second.
Thank you very much. And I'll go forward and say, we'll try that. Is there a second motion? Second on motion? No, I'm going to go for all of them.
That or you make your motion unless somebody else second it. I just want to record a no vote.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve all the items. All the
Okay,
positions.
I'll second that.
Second, okay, thank you very much.
Mayor, I as well want a no vote on Jimmy, but I also want a no vote on Brian Boyle. My
Why don't we separate?
6-year term is a long time, so.
Why don't we separate these two? Number one for Brian Boyle and the County Water Authority and the rest of them, because I don't want to get confused. I put all these names out to the directors of all those committees and commissions and got feedback on those, including Jimmy from our water utility person. On Brian Boyle, let's go with that one. I'll prove it. Have a second.
Well, I'll make the second Brian Boyle. You want to do that one first? I'll second Brian Boyle's nomination. And the reason it's so long, that's the water authority terms. That's not city. That's the water authority sets those terms of directors.
Separate or take that one. Please vote Brian Boyle.
You're voting on Brian Boyle to the San Diego County Water Authority. Motion approved 4-1, Feller no.
Thank you. On the other one is the remainder of the committees and commissions made the motions to support those, and please vote on that.
Wait,
And
I'd like to speak.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also received communication from Jimmy Knott, and he indicated that he wanted to serve, so I'm going to be opposing his replacement. I also am opposing the appointment of Brian Rupp because he is vice president of one of our developers who's actively working in Oceanside. I believe that the intent of our commissions are that they be citizens committees, that they be regular citizens who have to deal with, in fact, that kind of that kind of orientation, which is from a citizen and not from a developer. We've already had one company approach the Utilities Commission to try to privatize a water project, and for a developer to be appointed to this very critical, very important Utilities Commission, even though it is recommendations only, they don't have a final word. That is very important. It certainly is important to me that, what the Citizens Committee makes in terms of recommendations. So I think that there's plenty of room for a developer to make recommendations to us. In fact, I think that developers, especially when they're working on projects here in Oceanside, have a lot of time and opportunity to speak to our staff on a near daily basis. So to me, I would rather maintain a policy of having appointments to our Citizens Committee of citizens of Oceanside, and not those that may have an interest, an economic interest in the outcome of a decision that the council may make. So I believe that this is going a wrong way. This would be a change in policy. This could also be something that could be repeated, and serve as precedent. And I think we really need to hear from our citizens committees. We've narrowed our committees down to very few, and this one, again, is very, very important. So I would be opposing Brian Rupp, who is Vice President of Shop Off, and as I said, a very, very active developer in Oceanside. Thank you.
Mr. City Attorney, this was brought up to you before. Any issues?
I think it's a policy matter for you to decide. I didn't see a legal conflict of interest, so it's a policy decision for your discretion. But it does appear that you have 3 no votes on the Maria Russell appointment, so you may want to vote on the mayor's list absent that, or else the motion's not going to pass. So.
Just to add on here, there is no diversity on the Utilities Commission, so to take Maria Russell, who applied, and not appoint her, I think is also not good policy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I understood you said you were voting against the appointment of Maria Russell, replacing Jimmy Knott.
No, I'm voting against replacing Jimmy Knott, not for any specific seat.
Oh, okay.
And also voting against appointing Brian Rupp.
I got that one, but
okay. I need to clarify this too. We'll have to vote to take Marie Russell off and keep Jimmy there.
Well, unless you take Brian Rupp off and put Maria Russell in.
Okay, it's a little more complicated. Okay, with that, Mr. Feller, you're up next.
Thank you. First of all, Brian Rupp is a resident of Oceanside, so that doesn't float as far as that goes. There's no conflict there. And Maria Russell's already on the Utilities Commission as an alternate.
She is?
It says appoint as a regular, replacing. Was she not an alternate before?
No.
I apologize. Anyway, I still support Jimmy staying on, so.
Okay. Mr. Kern.
Okay, let's get some clarity here. If you don't mind a substitute motion, I move that we approve all the mayor's appointments for everything except the Utilities Commission at this time, and then I'll make a second motion.
Okay.
Can I have a second on that one?
I'll second that.
Okay, so let's vote on everything except the Utilities Commission.
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise, it's going to get real confusing.
the deputy mayor asked for clarification of the motion. It's for approval of all of the mayor's appointments except for the utility commission. He's going to make a second motion on that after the vote.
Thank you. Vote for that.
Brian Boyle. We already approved Brian Boyle.
Yeah.
So he's out of that. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Okay.
Now we got one left.
Let me do this. I'm going to make the motion that we appoint Michael Barden, Brian Boyle as regular, and Jack Key as alternate number 2. Have a second on that one?
These are my appointments.
Oh, okay. Well,
You can make a motion and change it.
well, if you make a motion, I'll second your motion for those.
Well, I have to look at everything. It's hard to say now without having it in front of me who I'm going to vote for, okay?
Oh, okay.
So you make a motion and we'll go.
Okay, I make that motion for Michael Barden, Brian Boyle, and Jack Key. All right, so that leaves the 2 that are in dispute, and we'll deal with those later.
I second that.
Okay, so let's vote for those. That leaves us the 2 that are hanging out there.
You got it? Vote.
All right?
Oh, good luck.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you very
And
much.
I'm going to make the motion to appoint Brian Rupp as alternate number 1. I agree with Councilmember Feller that he is a resident of the city. I would not appoint him to the Planning Commission, but I think as Utilities Commissioner, he would serve us well.
I second.
Okay, so we'll vote on Brian.
Please vote.
Motion approved, 4-1. Sanchez, no.
Okay, and then as far as the Maria Russell appointment, since I'm not in favor of that, I'll let somebody else make a motion for that one.
Well, you'll have to come back to me to look at it again because I had Maria replacing Jimmy Knott. Okay. Pardon? Withdraw it.
Okay.
Okay.
That was easy.
Thank you very much. Now, looking at an item we can take at, before 6 o'clock.
Council reports?
Council reports, that's a good one.
Mayor Wood.
Thank you very much. No, at this time, a lot of things, but I'm getting ready to leave to go back to the East Coast, so I don't have any right now. Been to a lot of things, that's all I have. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Lowry.
Well, I attended an excellent Memorial Day remembrance along with other council members at the Vance Center on Monday. That was really a heart emotional occasion. I also last week toured a new mitigation area in near South Memorial Hills, right next to Mission Vista High School. That's kind of new. There are two other mitigation projects adjacent to that one. I also attended the Martin Luther King Awards Gala. I think most or all the other council members were there on Friday the 20th. And last week I did probably the most stressful thing I've done in the entire year and a half I've been on city council, and that was judging the 5th grade spelling bee at Garrison Elementary. Very stressful. A bunch of really smart kids, and I was happy to see my old alma mater, St. Mary's, represented as one of the winning schools. This was a very fast-paced 3-hour occasion with 2 iPads and a cell phone and 3 judges, and it was hard to keep up, but I had a really good time nonetheless and missed my second appointment. And then upcoming events this Friday, we have Saturday, the North County LGBT Gala is happening on Saturday evening, June 4th, and then the following Saturday, the Filipino Cultural Festival is here on the Civic Center Plaza from 12 to 8. That's a free event, Saturday, June 11th. So I hope to see you there. Thank you.
Councilmember Feller.
Thank you. I was supposed to remind myself of something, and it's totally escaped my mind. So I've attended most everything that Deputy Mayor had been to. I did go to RBV for their Sacrifices and Victories. It's a concert they put on every spring, patriotic theme, and I'm only mentioning that because many of those students from RBV come here for their civics grade, and so that was good. I went to Pacific View Charter School's graduation, and the American GI Forum had its 50-year birthday dinner dance. I called it a birthday dinner because I didn't dance. I think Esther might have danced, but at least in her chair. And then things coming up. We got graduations at both schools tomorrow, and congratulations to all the 2016 graduates. And I just want to send my heart and prayers to Patsy Downs. Jim Downs passed away, and so that is just one of those things that happens when you start to get old. And so the celebration of life will be later on in the summers, and I think it's pretty great. Last thing is Justin, my oldest grandson, is getting married on June 25th, and so we're pretty busy for this summer. Anyway, that's it.
Councilmember Kern.
Thank you. The only thing I kind of mentioned it earlier, and the mayor mentioned it earlier, we are losing a really great employee at Scott Smith. Our city engineer is actually going to Irvine and becoming the deputy director of public works at the city of Irvine. So I wish him well. It's an opportunity he couldn't pass up. So he did a great job for us. I'm sorry to see him go. The only other thing, other than what was said already, is Councilmember Feller and I attended the privateer market opening today, and which is another great addition to that Oceanside Coast Highway corridor. You know, their market and wine bar. It was too bad it was at noon before a council meeting. Otherwise, I would have supported their wine bar, but I didn't. So, but I'll have to go back at another time and support that. But thank you.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Thank you. There was a lot going on, and judging that spelling bee was actually fun for me. I was involved in a spelling bee for Jefferson. Actually, that was a junior high. That was 7th grade. These kids, I got to be a judge for the 4th graders. And oh my gosh, we were into 5th grade words, well into, in order to be able to get to the top 3. So my congratulations to these kids. They're wonderful. I saw that Laurel Elementary was participating for the first time in a while. So my congratulations to Garrison Elementary for sponsoring this really great event. The parents just, if you listen to these kids, you would hear that the parents were the ones that helped the kids learn these words, how to spell these words. So they were the top trainer for the kids. So it's really great to see that. I also participated in the American GI Forum, or I attended the American GI Forum 50-year anniversary, and I think I participated because I was one of the early recipients of their scholarships. The GI Forum, I've known the GI Forum since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, and what they have been doing for the kids in Oceanside, raising so much money for scholarships, and they're still doing it. I noticed that Lorena Gonzalez was one of the queens, and I forget what year. I actually ran for queen too, and I got first runner-up, so it was really great to see these folks and how much this commitment that they still have. And yes, we hit the dance floor, and I'm sorry you didn't make it, Jack, to the dance floor. Yeah, I made it to the MLK Dr. King Scholarship Awards. Again, so many bright kids and so many places that they're going. These awards went from like anywhere to $1,000 to, what was the highest one? $8,000. So this is a fantastic event that is co-sponsored by the city and the committees. So I congratulate every single kid, especially since we're seeing another graduation class out of Oceanside, I should say, from 2 high schools. So OHS tradition out there at the near the pier. Fantastic. Congratulations to the class of 2016 and to the parents, to the families who have helped these kids get through some, probably some tough times, and they're now young adults and going on. I also attended Endangered Species Day at the Nature Center, the Buena Vista Lagoon Nature Center, the Audubon Society Center. So that was really great. They had some endangered species there for kids to actually look at and learn about animals that are really becoming extinct as we speak. So that was really great. Last thing I want to say is that we all got a press release about the library offering free online classes. This is pretty great. The libraries acquired a unique online service called Gale Courses for Community Education. These classes include, all kinds of things for all kinds of different departmental kind of studies. That includes, let's see if I can find this. Law, it includes, law enforcement, it includes all kinds of things, and this is really great. So what you need to do is go online to the city's website and look online at the library, and you'll see this great service that is now being given by the library. So hopefully that'll help people as they retool or gain some more education and getting the jobs. Thank you.
We'll have about a 10-minute recess, We start again at 6 o'clock for the second half of the council meeting. Thank you. 10-minute recess.
Darn it.
You're after us. Hi, how are you?
Good, how's it going?
Good. Well, it's on there, I think. We're just checking it. Yeah, I better double check it. I was just going to get it set up so it's ready to go.
please stand for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance? Tonight's invocation will be given by City Clerk Zach Beck, who is also youth pastor for the Fields Church.
Please join me in bowing our heads. Father, we come before you to say thank you. Thank you for the privilege, the blessing, the honor it is to reside here in the city of Oceanside. We come together tonight as a diverse community, a community of different backgrounds, different beliefs, different presence, and different futures, yet one common goal, and that is the betterment of the city. We come together tonight to seek your guidance, wisdom, and discernment during the deliberations that transpire this evening, and in doing so, we lift up Councilmember Feller, Councilmember Kern, Councilmember Sanchez, Deputy Mayor Lowry, and Mayor Wood. May you grant them peace, wisdom, and insight during their decisions this evening, and may they continue to lead our city into a bright and prosperous future. We say all these things in your precious name. Amen.
Do we have the FACO group in the lobby? Yeah, okay, here we go. Okay, because tonight's Pledge of Allegiance is going to be led by a group of youth from FACO. Miss Phil Am, Preteen 2015, Isabella Valmeo, Krista Kimball, Forshay Grunan, Janelle Surkina, Josiah Rodriguez. Please come forward for the pledge. Thank you.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we'd like to have Elke Wills from San Diego Humane Society. Please come forward for the Pet of the Month.
Oh, yes, this looks like a fun one.
Hi, everybody. I would like to introduce you to little Harry here. He's about a year old. As you can tell, a little nervous, but I did get to spend the day with him today out and about at an event, interacting with some employees at Intuit. And he loved to walk and was pretty social. He just takes a while to warm up. He's about a year old, some sort of Jack Russell Terrier of some sort in there, but he's pretty quiet and pretty mellow. But at a year old, I'm sure once he gets into your home, he probably is going to really open up. He's fine around other dogs, and his adoption fee is just $95, and that includes his microchip, his neuter, his vaccinations, a free bag of Purina, your license here in Oceanside, and a few other little perks. So he is available for adoption at our San Luis Rey location. Also, if you choose to adopt him, or if you have anybody at home and you want to know of ways that you can give back to San Diego Humane Society, we're now taking entries for our photo fundraiser. It's $25 to enter a photo of your pet. Every single pet, any kind of pet, from turtles to horses to bunnies, cats and dogs and the like, are put into our calendar. So for our 2017 shockingly calendar, every animal is chosen, but then you might also be selected as one of the poster, one of the months, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, or August, September, etc. And then we have different size photos, but everybody does get in. So it's a great way for you to celebrate your pet and also give back to San Diego Humane Society. You can see all that information is on our website. Thank you.
Thank you. They're kind enough to bring us an animal, some sort of animal, kitten or whatever down here every month. And hopefully you guys can go down as Humane Society. They have a setting for kitty cats and special animals. And we have a 2.5-acre off-leash park. But I always enjoy these animals coming in. And before you leave, as you walk out, this animal would be a great mascot for some team. whatever we find. Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we have a proclamation for the 15th Annual Filipino-American Cultural Celebration. Please come forward when I call your name. Belle Limoges, PhilAm President. Suzette Lumabas, Vice President of PhilAm. Roxanne Wallace, Mrs. PhilAm 2015. Nellie Savage, Mrs. Platinum PhilAm 2015. And if the children want to come forward that did the pledge? Brad, please come forward.
You can move around to take pictures anywhere you want. That's fine. And
Proclamation in honor of Filipino Cultural Celebration 2016. Whereas the Filipino-American Cultural Organization, FACO, established in 1976, is an organization whose focus is youth education, scholarships, and disaster relief. And whereas FACO has a broad membership representing all regions of the Philippines, and whose role in the community is especially important in Oceanside, where Filipino Americans have made vital contributions in medicine, the military, technology, government, and the economy. And whereas FACO is working to celebrate the diversity of our community and foster understanding and appreciation of Filipino culture by partnering with the Oceanside Public Library for the 15th year to present the annual Oceanside Filipino Cultural Celebration on Saturday, June 11th, 2016. And whereas the Filipino Cultural Celebration will be filled with music and dance, performances, costumes, pageantry, and arts from the Philippines and from the Filipino-American community, and will celebrate Philippine Independence Day. And whereas the event will have the theme of a look into the past, present, and beyond, and will include a look back at the historical achievements of the organization, including presentations related to the scholarship and youth development activities of FACO, with crafts and stories for children, hosted by the Oceanside Public Library. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Jim Wood, Mayor of the City of Oceanside, California, do hereby proclaim Saturday, June 11th, 2016, as Filipino Cultural Day in our community. Furthermore, I encourage our residents to come out and support this fun-filled celebration, issued this first day of June, 2016.
this is one of our greatest events in Oceanside. It's right here at City Hall, and the cultural exchange of information here in the city. I don't think I've been to a hospital that doesn't have Filipino nurses. They control it. Anyhow, it's a great event all day long. Food, entertainment, and really a great event. And I want to thank the library for putting it on too, but I'll pass this on.
Okay, good evening everyone. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Firstly, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mayor Wood and the Oceanside City Council and our great partner here, the Oceanside Public Library, Brad, for giving us the opportunity to promote our event. It's on June 11, that's a Saturday, and we start at 12 noon to 7:30 in the evening. Now, this is going to be a very big celebration, so this is going to be like a big party for everyone who would come. Yes, there would be dancing. In fact, we have two bands who will play, and the public can just dance and just have fun. So, as we mentioned a while ago, because this is our theme is a look into the past, present, and beyond. So we will highlight the past presidents. In fact, one of the past presidents is here with me, Mrs. Amelia Sivage, and she is also the 2015 Platinum Mrs. Senior. And and of course, also we have some of our beautiful ladies who, in the past, who won the pageants, who will also be there to do some fashion show. And you can see here we have our preteen PhilAm, Bella Balmeo, who will also crown the new, she's the winner last year, so she will crown the new one. And also here Mrs. millisivage for the platinum. We believe that that beauty is ageless. So we have pageants from age 5 to age 55 and above. So we believe in the, beauty of Filipino women and the talents. And look at this young boy here who is with us, for doing the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you want the costumes, if you want the different colorful costumes, you'll see more of this because we have a cultural fashion show. And of course, we have our own cultural dance group who will do the different folk dances. We have a youth group who will also do cultural dances and a Broadway play. And then we give out scholarships as well. And we have Pinoy Got Talent. If you have America's Got Talent, we have Pinoy Got Talent, of course. And this is the chair for that segment. And of course, we want to thank Brad because in the library, it's, your kids can have something to do. They have old crafts. We will bring Darna. She is the Philippine Wonder Woman. So she will be there in costume and meet the kids, and we even have a storyteller, an author who will sign. So please come, and to conclude the celebration, we have a band from 6 to 7:30 where everybody can dance. So it's going to be a big party. We have a lot of vendors, lumpia, pansit, you name it. We got them all. Okay, so please, June 11, that's from Saturday from 12 noon to 7:30, and it will be at the Oceanside Civic Center. Thank you.
The library is just really proud to be in this long-term partnership with such an essential element of our community and to have a chance to help showcase it for all ages. We love to participate in the craft aspect, but Phil-Am contributes books to the library, has made monetary donations to library supplies and services, and we're really, really proud to be connected with them and to continue this 15th occasion of the Filipino celebration.
Sure, get all.
Next, we have the Mayor's Youth Sports Recognition and Appreciation Award. Would Ed Burns, staff coach for the Oceanside Breakers Soccer Club, please come forward? I'd also like to invite the Oceanside Breakers Girls U15 team, winners of the California South National Cup, and the Oceanside Breakers Boys U17 team, winners of the Southern California National Premier League. Please come forward, along with their coaches.
Gentlemen, I think this way up here too. That's one. Oh my goodness. Hey, what's happening? What's going on? Council up here. Hey, we're really proud of you. What you do?
All right. Mayor, City Council, thank you all for having us. This has been a very exciting year for the Breakers, historical year. The Girls 2000 Black made history by winning National Cup in Southern California, which is easily the most difficult tournament in the country. By doing that, the girls team is comprised of 14 and 15-year-old girls who've worked hard to achieve these incredible goals. Many of these girls have played together since they were 8 years old, growing and developing under the leadership of their head coach, Miguel Barragon. By winning the Cal South National Cup Championship, which is the trophy you see here, they earned a spot in the United States Youth Soccer Region 4 Championships in Boise, Idaho, June 20th to the 26th. After they win the regionals, they will go to the national championships in Frisco, Texas in July of 2016, representing Oceanside. The Breakers Boys 98 team is comprised of local 16 and 17-year-old boys, many of whom have played in this club since age 6 or younger. Frank Zimmerman coaches the team. Recently, this team won the Southern California National Premier League and earned a spot to travel to Colorado in July to play in a national competition for a national championship representing Oceanside there. This past weekend, they won the Manchester City FC America's Cup, which was held here in Oceanside at our SoCal Sports Complex, and earned a bid into Surf Cup, which is a top college recruiting tournament. Both teams will play in that in July. We're in front of 500 college coaches from across the country. Currently, there are players on both teams that have accepted full scholarships to attend and play soccer in college. Many more are being recruited everywhere from the Pac-12 to Ivy League schools and everything in between. By achieving success in the classroom and the soccer field, these young men and women are creating opportunities for the other 2,000 kids in our club. The Oceanside Breakers is fast identified as a talent pool for colleges across the country. The academic and athletic scholarships translate into real money back into our community. Soccer provides a platform for awareness both on part of colleges for our youth and for our youth who have broader college choices. These young ladies and men will go earn a college degree, return to our communities where they will raise their families, provide and work and make companies and provide jobs that are our community. You can be a part of history by helping these soccer players by donating. You can donate to the Oceanside girls or the boys. The information's on the screen. The Soccer Club of Oceanside, P.O. Box 5977. Oceanside Breakers Soccer Club is a nonprofit youth organization, has served the local community for more than 30 years. The club mission statement clearly focuses all involved to provide an affordable, inclusive soccer environment, one that provides every child who wants to play the opportunity to play. Our 3 C's concept of community, camaraderie, and commitment stems from our mission statement. We thank you and urge you to support these young men and women as they move forward, representing the city. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to say these women and men represented Oceanside National Championships, and I'm so thrilled to say congratulations for your medals, your trophies, and for being here. What a thing for Oceanside, and I thank you for what you did, how hard you worked. Let's hear for these championship teams. Girls, you're going to have to carry that cup yourself. By the way, when you pick your college, try not to get one that has a lot of snow. It kind of interferes with soccer. You did that on TV? Hey, guy, outstanding. Hey, good presentation.
Next, we have a KOCT PSA. Zach?
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Zach Beck, City Clerk, City of Oceanside. Wanted to give you guys an important update on something that we're doing within the community right now. And my office has partnered with KOCT to try and encourage more citizens to be involved on city boards, advisory commissions, and committees. So what we did is we partnered with Angela Miranda from the KOCT, and she put together a wonderful PSA for us to be airing on KOCT, and we're going to show it to you now. But before we do, I want to invite Angela to come up to share a few words and thank her for all of the work that she did by bringing this to the city. So could you please give me a round of applause for Angela and all of her work?
Thank you very much. My name is Angela Miranda. I'm production supervisor from KOCT. This was an amazing project to work on. We got to involve all of our employees as well as our interns and meet a lot of different interesting people in the community. So I hope you enjoy.
I'm wanted.
I'm wanted.
I'm wanted.
I'm wanted.
Volunteers wanted.
There's a place for everyone.
Nobody can do everything.
But everyone can do something. Your experiences and expertise can help to advise the council on various matters. Whatever your interests are,
There is a place. There is a place.
There is a place.
There is a place for you.
Apply today for one of the city's committees, board or commissions.
whatever your interests are, there is a place for you.
For more information and applications, call the City Clerk Department at 760-435-3000 or visit the city's website.
Volunteers.
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 Volunteers are the heart of the community.
That was my niece, by the way. I got my niece involved. So it was really exciting to work.
Thank you, Angela, and just want to encourage all the citizens to please apply. We'd love to have more citizen input on the advisory commissions, committees, and boards. We really value, and the council values your input, so please apply and encourage your friends to apply as well. So thank you very much.
Okay, and we were informed right as the 6 o'clock meeting was starting that we have another group here that we need to recognize tonight. Would John Gomez please come forward? This is the 50-year anniversary for Johnny's Barber Shop.
Ladies and gentlemen, you don't very often get hear us saying 50 years for a business in Oceanside, but this gentleman been 50 years in Oceanside, well-known, was a good friend of my father's, got his hair cut there, but anyhow, I want to have this gentleman here say thank you for what he's done in Oceanside and all the good years that he spent here in Oceanside. I'm going to pass the mic to you, say a few words to everybody.
If anybody doesn't know me, I'm John Gomez, got a barbershop, Johnny's Barbershop, which makes me be in business 50 years this month. And I started working here when I started working as a barber 55 years ago. I've had my barbershop ever since. And I've lived here all my life. I was born here, 1937. My dad worked for the Rancho Santa Margarita, which now is Camp Pendleton. And we grew up there and went to school here in Oceanside. I graduated, went to barber school, got out of school, went into service, came out 2 years later, came back cutting hair, and got married, raised my family, and they went through school, and here I am. And I've been in business 50 years, and this young lady here, she's been with me for 17, almost 18 years. And just a couple months ago, she was elected Woman of the Year from the 76th District, which Rocky Chavez runs it or sponsors it or assemblyman. And he got this young lady to put her in because of all the community work that she's done. I don't know how she does it, but she cuts hair a lot, and she does the go into the meetings, and sponsor helping Brother Benos, different groups of organizations. So she's done a lot in 17, 18 years. So being that I've been in business for 50 years, all of you are invited on the 25th, starting 10 o'clock in the morning, for hamburgers and hot dogs, and we're just going to have a good time. Thank you very much.
I think it's a special moment when somebody's up here to get an award for 50 years, and he mentions somebody else, and he did. I think that's really special. I want a couple of words out of you, too, since you're the person picked as the 75th, 6th Assembly District.
My name is Carmen Rocha, and I'm humbled to receive this award, and I can say that everything that I did, I can say thank you to my boss. That he's not just my boss, he's like my father, and I really mean it. I raised my 3 girls, a single mom. My oldest, Roxana Carrillo, she's environmental engineering, working in Irvine for 5 years. One of my twins' daughters, Rosalba Roches, she's graduated last week with cum laude, 5 honors society. She studied political science, sociology, and minor in Chicano study, and she's working in CSU Channel Island for 2 months, and after she's working with a program, AmeriCorps, and after that she's going for her master's. And my other twin, she's graduating in San Marcos University in December, so, and major in drama. So I just want to say thank you, Jim, for having right here in Johnny, it's my honor to have you like a boss. So I'm glad to be in Oceanside because for me, Oceanside is like a city. They receive you with your arm open, and I find a lot of angels in this city, so I love this city. I've been here, and I plan to stay. Thank you.
Anyhow, let's hear for both of these. I think they've both been involved in the city for a long time, and I think Rocky Chavez made a great selection. Thank you very much. Thank you. If I had more hair, I'd start getting my hair cut again, but...
Okay. I'm ready. Well, everything except for what's next to me, that'll be the last thing. Thank you. Hi, my name is Kathy Nyko. I'm with Main Street Oceanside, the Downtown Business Association. As you can see, we partner a lot with the City of Oceanside Parks and Recreation and Library. There are a lot of events. You did cover the Phil-Am event. I just wanted to make sure that was covered. I brought a flyer, but since they were already here, I don't have to worry about that. Yay. So the first thing is Thursday is Market Day in Oceanside. We do a traditional farmers market on Thursday morning from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and our Sunset Market outdoor street fair from 5 to 9 p.m. We do want to remind people to please bring their reusable bags, and of course at the night market we have our free bike valet, so why try to find parking, especially with all the great development that's going on. Our city is booming, so ride your bike down. The weather's great, and it's going to be beautiful tomorrow. This Friday is Oceanside Art Walk from 5 to 8 p.m. There are 16 businesses, including the 2 museums. I call it free date night. You can go amongst the businesses to see all the great artwork done by our local artists. Again, that's first Friday of every month from 5 to 8 p.m. Then we have our events throughout the downtown, Oceanside Parks and Rec. They're doing their summer camp sign up. They have a free concert on the 17th. They have the father-daughter dance on the 14th. And the one flyer I forgot, on June 24th, we will have the Heart down at the Pier Amphitheater for Star Wars free movie. And then we are also doing our Oceanside Hot Rods and Bike Nights. The next one is on June 22nd. And then now I get to my favorite. Patriotic trifecta. Here we go. Starts July 2nd with Oceanside Independence Parade. And the theme is Volunteers are the Heart of Our City. This is a 2-hour parade. It's done with a lot of community help. We do need 100 volunteers for that day in particular, from 7 a.m. to noon. Sorry. Parade starts at 10, and the website is oceansideparade.com. Our Grand Marshal this year is Chris Gow. If you're with an organization, she's probably helped you. I know she's helped probably about 12 organizations I know of. But we have great marching bands. We have our scout groups, our churches, all of our veterans groups, and of course, our honorable dignitaries that day. Lots of red, white, and blue. Free flags are handed out by the Friends of Oceanside Parks and Recreation that day. So we hope to see you down there, and I'll be back again in a couple weeks to discuss the rest of that. Then the next day, which is Sunday, is our city anniversary, and we have fireworks in the middle of the city at El Corazon. That's at oceansiderec.com. There's a whole map on there on how to park. And then on the 4th of July, we consider that the day at the beach. I'm going to bring down some activities and food and vendors down at the beach at Tyson Street Park, there at Seagate, and also at the Pier Amphitheater and Betty's Lot. So that's a lot of great information right there. I also want to remind you that all this information is not just on the city website, it's on our website, mainstreetoceanside.com. Please sign up for our email newsletter, updates, Facebook. Goodness, there's a lot of information out there. And of course, I probably missed about 50 other events because there is an event every weekend in Oceanside from now until I think the end of the year. So, but thank you very much for having me, and I'll be back in a couple weeks. Just holy moly.
Mr. Mayor, can I add one more event that I'm sure Kathy and that's the Mercado, Oceanside Farmers
That's
Market,
this Saturday.
Reclaimed Treasures. That is this Saturday, June 4th, and this is all about agritourism and something that's connecting with a downtown as well. But this is in the South Morrow Hills community. It's going to be there are going to be information on the crops they grow, wine from the local Beach House Winery, artisans, creations, booths filled with reclaimed treasures that need a new home. So come and take a drive and meet the farmers, make some new friends, find some treasures out in the open air, enjoying sights and smells of Mercado. That's Saturday again, June 4th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Casina Bella Avocado and Palm Grower site at South Morrill Hills, 745 Sleeping Indian Road. So, thank you for everything you do.
That'll be
Kathy.
wonderful. I'll be there. I'm going to check it out. Hey, hope I'll see you there.
Thank you.
Yes, we have 5 members of the public wishing to speak on agenda items. At this time, Mary Jane Jakowski may come forward, then Wendy Brophy, Jan Wheats, Franz Wheats, and Francis Kazurski. You can come up in that order, speak for 3 minutes.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Deputy Mayor, council members, and staff. I'm Mary Jane Jagodzinski. I'm Vice President of Development with nonprofit Community Housing Works. And I'm coming today with some good news that we wanted to share with our partners here at the city before, we perhaps come back and do a more involved report. And this has to do with Mission Cove seniors. 6 years ago, the city put out an RFP, and you chose a team of Community Housing Works and National Corps. We've worked in conjunction on the entitlements. We're doing the overall grading right now. As you know, there are 3 different projects on this 14-acre site. There are 2 phases of family and 1 phase of seniors. National Corps was successful in winning tax credits on the first phase of family. They're breaking ground now, so that's moving ahead. It was our turn up at that, and Community Housing Works was very successful in winning competitive 9% tax credits for the seniors. So what that means is that the single building of 138 senior apartments, affordable housing, will break ground at the end of this year. In addition to the ground lease of the city-owned land and the $2.3 million that this council has loaned to us for that project, we'll carry out mortgage, about $5.5 million. But, the good news is that I'm bringing with us $19 million of private investment from tax credits. And it's a big, complicated project. Many people in the county thought it was maybe too big, but I want to thank the council once again for believing and staying with it, and thank you, and we're looking forward to a wonderful groundbreaking. So, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Wendy Brophy. I live on Bella Colina Street, and I have had the privilege of speaking here before, but I just wanted to reiterate, I am so excited this evening that I've seen all the wonderful things that Oceanside is doing. It reminds me what a great place this is to live, and what a lot Oceanside has to be proud of. And of course, my topic is the electronic billboards that just the discussion doesn't seem to go away among my friends and family. We don't want Oceanside to be made ugly by those things. Oceanside is so beautiful now. So much work has been done that I'm just asking you, please, not to let this happen. Please do not degrade our beautiful city. Thank you for listening.
Good evening, Mayor Wood and council members. I'm Jan Whites, and I live at 1361 Crestview Drive. Oceanside is a great place for residents and tourists, and we are upon the tourist season right now. In fact, just last week, there was an article in the front page of our local newspaper, "Tourism Wave Hits Oceanside." So this is a great place for us to be in. Economically, we are coming back from the Great Recession, and the vacationers are spending money here. So since 2010, there have been 570 new jobs. We have increased $70 million in revenues. And it's going higher because we have more commercial spaces coming to our city. We have many sporting events that are taking place. SoCal Sports Complex is being well used. The hotel tax revenues are going up. Downtown improvements are wonderful. We have our beaches, our harbor, our farmers markets. What more could we ask for but not billboards? So that's my topic, and I'm looking at the billboards as a detriment to our Oceanside, our beautiful Oceanside. There's one point I would really like to bring up, and that is, first of all, there are 4 other states in our country who banned altogether billboards in the whole state: Hawaii, Vermont, Alaska, and Maine. Is that my signal? My very last point is digital signs are going to be another step of interactive digital signs. And that is where a camera points at your car, takes a picture, compares it to another vehicle that is in comparison to your car. How much of a distraction is that? It's like TV on the roadway. Please listen to the residents of Oceanside. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Woods and council members. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak on this continuing issue. One of the things that was surprising to me is the article that was in the newspaper in which Mr. Kern said that the Oceanside is going to get from 4 billboards along 78 and 76, a total of $1 million. I checked a lot of stuff on the internet, and the largest company, or one of the largest ones, is Lamar Advertising Agencies. And they're saying that when they put up these boards in Los Angeles, they expect to get approximately $100,000 of profits from the board. Well, if we have 4 boards for $1 million, that means $250,000 for each board. Somewhere the numbers don't seem to match, but I assume there will be an explanation for that. The other thing is, the article said that generally people will only be distracted for a little over a minute and a half. There was a study done in Sweden not too long ago, and it was done by the Transportation Research Institute in Sweden, and they have found that the digital electric billboards, it says here, they usually take drivers' eyes off the road for more than 2 seconds. Now, I know some people will glance and not, but a lot of people will look, and especially if something every 6 seconds, there's a different thing, it can continue to interact with the driver. Also, there's a study done here in Virginia by the Virginia Tech for the National Highway Safety Administration, and they found out that any time you're distracted for more than 2 seconds, you increase the risk of a crash. Matter of fact, they have studied and found that 80% of crashes involved driver inattention just prior, 3 seconds before they had to crash. Again, there's a lot of evidence. I think that it's really, there must be another way to raise some money. And I looked at the property taxes and sales tax. Please consider another way if we are so desperately in need of $1 million. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Wood and members of the City Council. My name is Francis Kozerski. I'm an Oceanside resident, which is a matter of public record. A month ago, on the eve of the National Day of Prayer, I had brought to your attention that the clergy of Oceanside did not have a formal prayer ceremony here at Civic Center or at the historic San Luis Rey Mission or anywhere to my knowledge. And for that reason, since the early 1990s, I have been attending a prayer meeting for the National Day of Prayer at the city of Carlsbad. Well, I wish to bring to your attention on the morning of the National Day of Prayer, as I was getting ready to go to Carlsbad, I was here in Oceanside. I was stopped at a stoplight at the 78 freeway, let's say 76, the 76 freeway, getting ready to go on the I-5. And as I was parked, let me say that again, as I was stopped at the stoplight, my attention was focused on a homeless man, and this homeless man was literally next to the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce wall. And not only was he next to the wall, he was in a tent, and there were two, it looked like they were officers of the police department that were there to investigate why he was sheltered in a tent next to the Chamber of Commerce. The reason why I'm bringing this to your attention is I really feel that Frank McCoy, the chief of police, should find out who that homeless man was in that tent and find out who those people were, if they were the City of Oceanside Police Department people, if they were there to cite him for being homeless or they're there to help him for being homeless. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is several years ago, in the dead of winter, I brought up to the Oceanside City Council that the Bread of Life Rescue Mission was trying to help the situation of homelessness. But the Bread of Life was open from Thanksgiving up until about middle of March to bed people, to put people up for the night, men and women. And then in the middle of March, going back to Thanksgiving, they were told, you got to go live out on the streets. You can't put people overnight. I think that's ridiculous. And one last thing I wanted to mention, when my father was still alive, back in the early 2000s, when George Bush Jr. was president, we learned that there were 280,000 homeless veterans in the United States of America during George Bush Jr.'s reign as president. So I really feel you need to support the Bread of Life Homeless Mission, the Bread of Life Homeless Mission, and Brother Benno's, and help this situation resolve itself. Thank you.
No further public on this item. Yes. Item number 33 is adoption of resolutions for the following. Approving the appropriation limitation as required by Article 13B of the state constitution as modified by Proposition 111 for fiscal year 2016-2017 as calculated in the resolution. Approving the fiscal year 2016-2017 City of Oceanside operating budget. Approving the fiscal year 2016-2017 City of Oceanside capital improvements program budget. Accepting the annual AB 1600 compliance report, and making findings required by Government Code Section 66001 regarding the expenditure of development impact fees. Approving the fiscal year 2016-2017 Community Development Commission operating budget, and approving the fiscal year 2016-2017 Harbor District operating budget.
I've had only staff contact during this last period, but that's all we've had so for now.
Staff.
Staff and public.
Staff and public, we had a budget workshop on this.
All material has been provided to the council.
Honorable Mayor, council members, I'm Jane McPherson, Financial Services Director. I'm here to present the general fund portion of the budget adoption for fiscal year 2016-17. This is a public hearing to adopt the fiscal year 2016-17 operating budget, the fiscal year 2016-17 capital improvements program budget, and accept the AB 1600 report for development impact fees. The general fund budget for 2016-17. The focus is on public safety, quality of life issues, economic development, and some service restoration. This budget was proposed and put together based on council's collective priorities and input from the departments. All recommendations from the April 27, 2016 budget workshop have been incorporated in this budget. Some highlights of the expenditures. Total expenditures are $138.6 $1.18 million for the general fund. We did roll over the maintenance and operation budgets for all general fund departments. All negotiated and known personnel and benefit increases were included. An additional $1.9 million in PERS costs were added due to the increase in PERS costs overall. And we did include a placeholder for the 5 MOUs currently under negotiations. This is a summary of the different types of funding that was presented at the workshop and summarized here. One-time funding for unallocated general fund reserves, $749,510. Discretionary increment ongoing costs, $1,168,952. Development services, additional expenditures, which are 100% covered by incoming development fees of $885,587. Budget neutral costs offset by other revenues or reallocation of expenses, which mean it was a net zero impact. Those items were $424,200. Now, development services and water utilities will present their CIP budgets.
Honorable Mayor, council members, the capital improvement budget has not changed from the workshop. It's the same budget that was prepared and presented to you at that workshop. So it's going to be a brief presentation. The breakdown of the programs is as follows on the pie chart slide. It's a little over $100 million, 13 different programs. The program was taken to these commissions and committees for review on those given dates. And a short list of projects of interest or selected highlight projects include the following projects: Coast Highway Corridor, the annual overlay program, the pier restoration, El Corazon Aquatic Center, the railroad safety improvements, and the sand replacement project. And that is the conclusion of my presentation. I'll be available for questions.
Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. Carrie Dale, Water Utilities Director, presenting on the Capital Improvement Program budget for water, sewer, and solid waste. I'll start with water. And again, as Scott mentioned, this is a review of the capital projects that were discussed at the budget workshop last month. $23 million in water projects for rehabilitation and replacement. We're touching almost every type of infrastructure, from pipelines to pump stations, both water treatment plants, as well as pipeline improvements. New projects being added this year include a transmission pipeline to supply the 511 pressure zone and a fueling station at the Jones Road facility. Subtotal for water projects is $25.4 million. Water supply projects includes a water reclamation facility at $1.4 million, as well as a $0.1 million for other recycled water pipeline projects and the injection wells for the Mission Basin. Water projects totaled $35 million for this upcoming year. And for sewer, lots of projects going on, totaling $16.6 million. As with water, most of these are touching pipelines, pump stations, both treatment plants, and pipelines. One of the new projects includes expansion of Plant 2 at the San Luis Rey facility at $300,000. And solid waste has one new project, which is a organic diversion project in compliance with one of the state mandates. That totals $400,000. And with that, I'm going to just jump into the water utilities operating budget. Some of the major initiatives that we have for water and recycled water are really focused on local supply development, and we've done some planning for the urban water management plan that will be coming for your approval soon, as well as a lot of recycled water purchase documents. We do have an indirect potable reuse project, which is maximizing water from the Mission Basin, engineering standards to get recycled water projects permitted, continuing drought education, and managing the basin by implementing the groundwater sustainment agency actions. Revenues are anticipated to be $66.7 million, a little bit higher than the previous year, and expenditures a little bit less than last year at $58.4 million. Major initiatives in the sewer fund include updating another planning document, the sewer system management plan, updating the department strategic plan, replacing in partnership with the finance department the billing system, and completing the first 2 phases of solar citywide projects. In wastewater, we anticipate $43.6 million in revenue and about $29.5 million in expenditures. In solid waste and recycling, our major initiatives include the plastic bag ordinance, which is coming to you in August. As I mentioned, organics mandate is another capital project that's coming in the next year. Several programs with phase 2 of the zero waste plan, and continuing our programs through Green Oceanside. Anticipated revenues for solid waste and recycling are anticipated to be $26 million, with approximately $25.5 million in expenditures. Some of the notable budget changes include increases in energy costs and chemical usage, reduced water sales or flat water sales over this previous year, and same in sewer, increased energy costs and chemical costs. With that, I will turn it over to Jane McPherson.
Staff recommends that the City Council, the Community Development Commission, and the Harbor District Board take the following actions to adopt the fiscal year 2016-17 operating and capital improvement program budgets. We ask that Council adopt the resolutions approving the appropriation limitation as required by Article 13B of the State Constitution as modified by Prop 111, approving the City of Oceanside operating budget, approving the City of Oceanside capital improvements program budget, accepting the annual AB 1600 compliance report concerning the collection of development impact fees, approving the Community Development Commission operating budget, and approving the Harbor District operating budget. Thank you very much. I'll be available for comment.
This is a public hearing item. Any members of the public wishing to speak on this specific item may come forward and address the council at this time. Mayor Wood, I see none.
I see none also. I'll go ahead and close this public hearing and come back to the council. Councilman Kern, Kern.
Thank you. It's a little disappointing the public wasn't here. We're going to spend $138 million and we have no public input, but staff did a great job on this. I know we've kind of beat it to death over the last few months, and the city manager and all the department directors. I'd like to thank all the department directors for working this up. I know it's always the toughest task. And I say, this is the most important thing we do every year, is how we're going to spend the public's money. And so I am going to move that we approve the budget and adopt all the enabling resolutions.
Second.
Motion and a second. Thank you very much. Ms. Sanchez, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, obviously, we were all mindful of the fact that what we were looking at were slightly flat revenues, and so, having to stay within those boundaries is something that, it's difficult when you have a lot of things that you would like to do as a city. Certainly, we got input about traffic calming and a program that we had going for a while and has not been funded for several years now. Still getting a lot of requests regarding traffic calming throughout the city of Oceanside. We've received input regarding homeless issues and the kind of things that are, in terms of addressing them, and perhaps what we need are more personnel. We're certainly, in talking to the city manager and talking to our police chief, we certainly are becoming more of a model in addressing homeless issues in a proactive way, having a hot team that is a homeless outreach team, officers who actually are out to give referrals rather than, as someone asked, are we giving out tickets or are we helping? And our position is that we are helping, and we can easily use more public safety personnel as well as quality of life personnel, such as for libraries, after-school programs, parks and rec programs, art programs. I still am interested in updating our park fees, our development park fees. I'm interested in updating the plans for our harbor and certainly continuing with our economic development, because investing in economic development for me means investing in our future for Oceanside and becoming more sustainable economically and environmentally. So I do applaud our city manager for taking all our input and for each department head and, understanding the situation and presenting to us a very responsible budget. We do have things we have to address as we go forward, either because the state is now mandating that we consider things like organics, recycling, and also greenhouse gas and addressing greenhouse gas issues. But we also we do have to figure out what is going to be in the best interest of Oceanside and ensuring that we have the revenues to be able to fund these programs, public safety, quality of life, ensuring the future for our children. So I'm supporting this, the budget that's been presented, but there's still a lot that we have to do, and hoping that we continue with priorities being economic development and addressing climate action programs. Thank you.
Mr. Feller?
Thank you. I want to kind of reiterate what Councilmember Kern said. We're talking about $138 million that we are spending. We are responsible. The total appropriations are $456 million, and that includes, buildings and all kinds of things that. It just proves we're a very large city. 68 million for capital improvement stuff. So, I said some years back that at the time we were the 122nd largest city in the whole country, and little by little we're probably shrinking back a little bit to maybe 130th or something like that now. We're a big city, and we have big city problems, and I think our staff is just doing the best job possible for all the work involved in handling all the issues that big cities have, and maintaining that small town feel. So. Thank you for all the work on this budget. You can all go get a good night's sleep tonight, I think, when this gets voted down. And so that's all I have.
Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Carry. Item number 37. Get rid of carry out one time.
Yes, item number 37 is approval of the franchise provider's annual request for consumer price index adjustment to the contractor compensation under the city's solid waste service contract with Waste Management of California, adoption of a resolution establishing maximum rates for the collection of waste matter within the city of Oceanside by adjusting the current solid waste rates by an amount not to exceed 1.22%, resulting in a maximum increase of 23 cents for the basic residential solid waste and recycling rate, and a maximum increase of 1.22% to all other rates for services provided under the solid waste contract, except for overload bin fees, which will be increased by 27.8%, resulting in a maximum increase of $9.44, removing outdated rate codes and adding a new rate for construction and demolition recycling.
What was that again? Yeah, read it again. As mayor, go ahead and open this public hearing. Ask for council members' contacts.
Only staff.
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 Staff only on this one.
Yeah. And Mr. Clerk, correspondence or petitions?
All material has been provided to the council.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And Ms. Dale, welcome back.
Thank you. I feel like I was just here. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Carrie Dale, Water Utilities Director. I'm going to be introducing Colleen Foster. She is the Senior Management Analyst who will be presenting on the solid waste rates, which is a CPI adjustment this evening. So, Colleen, come on up.
Welcome, Colleen.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Actually, before I start with our presentation, I'd like to introduce you to our new contract liaison with Waste Management, Daniel Butler. I'm actually going to call him up to the front row in case we have any questions for Daniel. He is here representing Waste Management today.
Here? Okay.
I didn't warn him of that, so.
Thank you.
All right.
Ken Ryan's not going to show up, huh?
Essentially, we're calling him the new Lori Summers, but Lori's still working with us as well. So I'll get started now. Thank you. Our city solid waste franchise contract with Waste Management allows for an automatic fee increase based on the annual consumer price index. This increase is effective July 1st of each year. In accordance with the contract, Waste Management is entitled to a 1.22% CPI adjustment for fiscal year 2016-2017. This CPI adjustment is based off of a calculation outlined in the franchise agreement. The CPI adjustment is based on either 100% of the difference in this year's and the previous year's national all-city CPI, or 75% of the difference in this year's and the previous year's San Diego area CPI, whichever is higher. This year's CPI increase is based off the San Diego CPI adjustment and equates to 1.22% to the solid waste rates. Common rate categories. How does this affect our common rate payers? Common rate categories include the standard residential service, which includes 1 35-gallon trash cart, up to 3 recycling carts, and up to 2 green waste carts. That rate in particular is currently at $18.23. That rate is currently at $17.93, and it would get increased to $18.13. So it's a 20-cent increase. The 1.22% represents a 20-cent increase to the standard residential customer in Oceanside. We also have the large generator residential service. That is when a customer has the 64 or 96-gallon trash cart, or 2 35-gallon trash carts, and then the additional recycling and green waste carts. That rate in particular is currently at $20.30. That would be increased by 23 cents, which equates to 1.22% of the rate. This rate increase, as a reminder, applies only to the payment paid to Waste Management, our solid waste franchise collector, for solid waste services rendered. All city waste-related fees will remain the same and are not impacted with this rate increase. In addition, the staff staff report outlines another request that Waste Management provided to the city this year. Waste Management requested an increase to our commercial overage fees from $29.15 to $38.59. Waste Management in 2015-2016 actually made this request last year, and per staff's direction, the City Council denied that request with the request to do more education and outreach to minimize the amount of commercial customers that overload those bins or create public nuisances. Even though we have done an extensive education program to have businesses right-size their services or use their services appropriately, we still have continued issues due to the low rate of our overage fees. So at this point, staff is recommending that City Council now support the rate increase other than CPI for this particular service to incentivize the right sizing of services and the elimination of public nuisances created from overloaded trash bins. In the staff report, there were also outlined the removal of some outdated rate codes. Our actual rate sheet, which is an attachment, had some rate codes that were obsolete or not needed. So we are proposing to eliminate additional 35-gallon cart fees for small quantity or standard generators. The standard service allows for you to have one 35-gallon cart. If you choose to increase your service level up to 6.4 and 96 gallon, you go to the large generator rate. We had some obsolete rates that allowed some people to have a 35-gallon and a second 35-gallon, and then they would end up having 65 gallons worth of service at a lower rate than what was appropriate. So this is just deleting some of those obsolete rates that we actually do not use. Customers that want to have larger amounts of service, so that 64-gallon or 96, but are unable to maneuver a large cart, can still request to have two 35-gallon carts. They'll just be charged at that larger rate. We are also eliminating some codes that were in our current rate sheet. We're eliminating steam cleaning and paint charges for commercial services. This rate is now obsolete as it was originally for customer-owned specialized bins that were once used sporadically in the city. In the newer contract with Waste Management, customers are allowed to get cleaning services once a year for free, and we also, Waste Management provides painting or graffiti removal services at no charge as well. So those codes were obsolete and no longer being utilized. We are also adding a new rate code for 3-yard temporary recycling bins and a new rate code for 3-yard temporary construction, demolition, and recycling bins. These new rate codes and services will allow special events to have recycling services and will also allow for building projects to have recycling services, and will help us meet certain state mandates related to special event recycling as well as the California Green Building Code. So with that, staff is recommending the approval of recommended rate increases related to CPI and service rate changes. We are recommending approval of the franchise provider's annual request for CPI adjustment and adoption of a resolution establishing solid waste user rates and direction to staff to implement the user rates and franchise provider charges. I will be to the side if you have any questions. Thank you.
This is a public hearing item. Any members of the public who wish to speak on this specific item may come forward to address the council for 3 minutes if you wish. Mayor, I see none.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to go ahead and move adoption of the resolution approving the staff's recommendations, and just want to say that I think that we're doing a really good job in terms of educating the public on all matters with waste, including especially zero waste. Something that was not brought up here that I think is a really good program is the program of picking up large items that are now, that we're trying to recycle now, and that's with Goodwill, right? And so that's something that I think, you know, along with this increase saying, but we are also doing these other really great programs such as picking up the large items for free. We were limited before to, what was it, two times a year, and now it's unlimited, right?
It's now 3 times a year, up to 5 items per time. So it is a great benefit to our community and residents for free. And now they're getting processed, potentially for recycling or reuse.
So, all right, so a move approval. Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you. The thing that came to my mind as I was reading this, they're going to make 20 cents more, but you know, that's hard work they're doing out there on the routes. I'm very familiar with it. But I do have a request that somehow, so Daniel can hear it, I call in graffiti a lot. And in my time, I call in graffiti on dumpsters. It would be a lot easier if there was some system in place where the drivers could notify their supervisors. Whoever's going to do the paint out has to be notified, and sometimes those dumpsters sit. And I know most of them, almost all of them get at least once a week service. So if we can look at that. We're trying to clean up the alleys, the trash enclosures. So anytime they spot something that's out of the ordinary as far as the graffiti, I wish that we could do a little better job, because if I wasn't calling in, you know, somebody needs to, and someday I may not be able to read or see. So that's all my.
Thank you, Mayor. Colleen, I have a question. So I just want to really confirm that the typical home user's rate is going to go up 20 cents. Is that exactly what it is? Trash? Waste services?
The homeowners that are utilizing the 35-gallon trash cart, which actually we now call the standard residential rate, their rate will go up by 20 cents. If the homeowner was choosing to use the larger 64 or 96-gallon cart, their rate will go up by 23 cents.
Oh.
So we have seen, because we've changed the language a bit, and we've done more education, and access to recycling has increased, we've seen a lot of customers actually go to the standard rate, which means the smaller cart.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know we have a meeting tomorrow about AB 1826. Have we factored in the cost of implementing that? I mean, Daniel, we're going to need new trucks. We're going to need something. For those of you at home that don't know what 1826 is, it's food waste and how we're going to handle food waste. And I think that mandate kicks in January 1 of 17. So I want to know have we dealt with that, or are we dealing with that?
I'll let Colleen speak to the timeline for the mandate, but in terms of how we comply with it, we are currently finishing up an RFP that would go out to study the different options available to us. There are several options, I think, that are viable, and we need to look at how feasible they are, how much greenhouse gases they produce, as well as the cost. And we anticipate that to be finished up probably by the end of the year, and then we'll be looking at moving forward with implementing one of those options.
And I guess, Colleen, are we going to meet deadlines, or are we going to miss them?
So actually, the state mandate AB 1826 came into effect January 1st of this year. Technically, the first threshold is April 1st of 2016 for large generators, but in reality, the state is putting hard deadlines for showing active compliance, and active compliance means agencies are working with businesses to develop solutions. So by 2018, 2019, we are well underway to have services that will help our businesses divert organic. So there is not a drop deadline on January 1st of 2017. It's just we need to be working towards solutions, and we need to be providing reports back to the state and providing education to our businesses. So we are in great timeline and a great place in consideration where we're going with the feasibility analysis.
And Daniel, I guess you're grappling with this in other districts. Can you tell us what other districts are doing now or to come in compliance? I know that in Orange County, they have that great big garbage grinder that turns it all into kind of goop, according to Ken Ryan. That's his official name for it. And then, how's that working?
Well, the State Department that deals with the waste and recycling, they're known as Cal Recycle. They understand that there's a major infrastructure issue in San Diego County, where facilities like the one you mentioned in Orange County and in other areas north of here are not in existence yet. So there isn't a lot of pressure as of now from the state onto cities and to the haulers to have a solution immediately.
Okay. All right, before I get too far afield and the city attorney gives me dirty looks for going off the agenda, I am done.
Motion approved, 5-0. Yes, item number 36 is adoption of a resolution approving development plan and conditional use permit for the development of a 32-unit multifamily apartment complex located at 402 North Weitzel Street, applicant Chelsea Investment Corporation.
I've had an email, I think, one email or two maybe, and from the public and staff and applicant. That's it.
I met with the applicant last year sometime, and I also got one or two emails from neighbors or possible people who just happen to live in Oceanside, and I also discussed it with staff.
Staff and public.
Public, staff, and I've had contact with the applicant.
All material has been provided to the council.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the council. I'm Scott Nightingale from the Planning Division, here to present item number 36 for the adoption of a resolution approving a development plan and conditional use permit for a 32-unit apartment development known as the Weitzel Street development. The site is located at 402 North Weitzel Street at the northeast corner of Weitzel Street and Civic Center. The site is zoned within the downtown past redevelopment zoning, subdistrict 8B, which permits a mix of hospitals, medical uses, office developments, and single-family and multifamily developments. The surrounding uses, as you can see here, consist of a medical office to the north. You have a high-density residential condominium complex known as Summit Village to the west, a commercial center to the south, and Interstate 5 to the east. Just a little background on the site and just a little history on the site. There's never been any structure ever constructed on this site. And actually back in October 2009, the Neighborhood Service Department proposed the possibility of buying this site with inclusionary housing in lieu funds to build affordable housing development. And at that time, City Council directed staff to proceed. Since then, in April 2010, the City Council approved a purchasing agreement for the purchasing of the site. At that time, we allowed the site to be utilized as a community garden until a affordable housing project was submitted. And then in July 27, 2012, the city entered into an agreement with the North County Solutions for Change for the actual development of the affordable housing project. And lastly, just recently here, June 3rd, 2015, a disposition agreement with Solutions for Change was established to lease the property for approximately 55 years for the proposed 32-unit multifamily project, which would be rented to low-income residents and provide housing for families who and or at risk of being homeless, as well as disabled adults with children. And to go into the entitlement of the project, our proposed development plan is for the construction of the actual 32-unit residential apartment complex on 0.95 acres. The residential units will range in 798 square feet to 1,770 square feet. There'll be a community room and lobby office. There'll be approximately 49 subterranean parking stalls, which will be provided for all residents and visitors. The conditional use permit is required based on the land use matrix table for the downtown zoning ordinance. Anytime you construct multifamily in this zone, it's a conditional use permit's required. Since this is a joint venture between the city and the developer to provide affordable housing, since 2009, the project does meet certain criteria for affordable housing and density bonus per SB 1818. There's 3 concessions that can be offered to a developer, if approved by the city, to provide somewhat of a variance from some standards. They are asking for 2 concessions, guest parking reduction, as well as a exceedance in height. Here's an image of the first floor, which would consist of underground parking garage of 49 parking stalls. The garage will be somewhat partially subterranean. Access to the garage will be off the new driveway off of Weitzel Street. Access to the upper levels will also be provided through a stairwell and an elevator. I will note that Caltrans has reviewed these plans and has approved these plans. They have proposed that, or asked the developer to come back during plan check stages for coordination and also obtaining a Caltrans permit. Here's an image of the first floor podium level, which will consist of 10 units. This first floor will consist of 4 3-bedroom units and 6 2-bedroom units, and as well as a lobby and community room and courtyard. The lobby will be used for the tenants and as well as one on-site manager, which Solutions for Change will use for their specialized programs and also for special meetings with the tenants. Here's a level or an image of the second and third level, which will be a direct mirror of one another, which will consist of 11 units per level. You have 4 3-bedroom units per level and 7 2-bedroom units per level. Here's an image of the proposed elevations, which would consist of a contemporary modern architecture type design with building facades composed with architectural articulations that will provide interest and breaks in the building's massing. The color theme is somewhat of an earth tone color, which is consistent with the neighborhood and the surrounding area. The proposed building heights, and actually the tallest portion of the building at its highest point will be at 58 feet, but a majority of the building would range from 40 to 49 feet. When reviewing this project, staff carefully reviewed it based on the massing to ensure neighborhood compatibility. If you look here, you have an apartment complex and a condo complex to the west. The proposed development is directly to the east. You can see a majority of the project site is several feet above the grade. This site does slope somewhat from 2 to 3 to 5 feet to the east, so a majority of this will be subterranean, like I explained. Here's another image looking from Civic Center. As you can see, it's similar in bulk, scale, and design as the condo complex directly to the west, which was approved at 36 feet, but they actually have a higher grade level. The project site would be at 20% landscaped. The proposed landscaping in and around the site has been carefully designed to ensure that the landscaping enhances the building as well as the neighborhood. The landscape palette is predominantly drought tolerant, consisting of low-lying shrubs and various trees placed in areas to complement the building. There will be if you can see to the left there, a common area barbecue space will be utilized for the tenants. And that's right at the access there on Weitzel Street. This project has been reviewed by the Downtown Advisory Commission. They have received a vote of 3-2 approval for recommendation to the Community Development Commission. When reviewing this project, staff reviewed the project based on the following findings for approval. Project meets general plan compliance. The project would improve the property as well as the neighborhood, and the project would not impact the public health, safety, and welfare of the city of Oceanside. This project would provide a quality product that would enhance the neighborhood and also do away with the blight at the site. Provides an affordable housing, high-density product to an area which is permitted and appropriate for the neighborhood. This project would add the affordable inventory that is needed for our housing element. This proposed residential use and number of units is compatible and appropriate with the area and the location. The density is right within the density thresholds of 29 to 43 with the proposed 32. And lastly, the affordable component is needed as specified within the 2013-2021 housing element and is consistent with Goal 1 to produce opportunities for decent and affordable housing for all citizens. Not only will this project provide a quality, but it'll exceed the decent requirement. Typically what you would see if this was an affordable type project, you'd see market type development where you'd have tenants go in there and they wouldn't be managed. With this project, we can assure you that with our 55-year contract, you'll have someone managing the tenants, so there'll be constant management, and we'll be able to review the tenants and the activity occurring there. And lastly, downtown, there's compliance with the downtown ordinance. As conditioned, the project meets the required findings for development, with the exception of the SB 18 incentives that were requested because of the project being 100% affordable. And lastly, the project qualifies for an exemption for low-income housing per section 2115.23. Several criteria must be met to make these findings. This low-income housing project actually meets all of them. So it meets the exemption as well as the exemption for infill development. With that, staff recommends that the Community Development Commission confirm the issuance of the CEQA exemptions and adopt the resolution to approve the development plan and conditional use permit. This concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions. The applicant is here as well as the developer to help answer any questions as well. Thank you.
At this time, the applicant may come forward to address the council.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Chris Earle with Chelsea Investment Corporation. We're the development consultant for Solutions for Change, and there is a representative here tonight from Solutions for Change too. Chris Megginson is out of the country now. We're happy to be here tonight to seek approval for the project. We've worked diligently with the Solutions for Change to provide them a design and a building that fits the site and is compatible with the local uses, and we look forward to your approval. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. We also have Bill Hinnenkamp, our architect, and the other design consultants if there's any specific questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. At this time, the public will have the chance to address the
We
council.
don't have any questions.
Yeah, you'll have 18 minutes to respond to the council if they have any questions in a moment. So at this time, any members of the public who wish to speak on this specific item may come forward. At first, we have Daniel Martin.
Mayor, council members, and staff, Daniel Martin. I reside at 450 North Horn Street, Unit E44. I am the president of Summit Village Homeowners Association. Our community consists of 58 units located directly west of the proposed 32-unit Witzel Street project. We border on Witzel, Civic Center, Street, and Sport Fisher. Myself and other owners have submitted our concerns and objections regarding this project since the beginning of the application process. For the record, we would adamantly request that you deny this development plan and conditional use permit for these 32 units on Witzel Street. Your approval would overbuild this small property and impact our neighborhood with traffic and parking issues, just to name a few. Thank you.
Thank you.
If any other members of the public wish to speak on this item, you may come forward at this time.
name's Jerry King. I own a condominium in Summit Village. I think Dan has already...
Can you adjust your mic? We don't hear.
Okay, is that okay?
That's fine, thank you.
I think Dan has mentioned some of the issues. I think one of the biggest issues is parking. Despite what it showed on the pictures there, in the evening, pretty much the whole roadway around the whole block is filled with cars, and we're concerned about that issue. The other question I had was there no place else to build this, even though the lot is extremely small. And I think in the long run, it's going to affect the value of our condominiums and the rent that people who rent their places are able to get. When asked at the Planning Commission how many of the planning people had actually viewed the property, only 1 out of 5 had actually seen the property before they made their approval, which is only a 3-2 vote. I'd like you guys to come back in 5 to 10 years and look at the property and see if it goes the way at most other low-income properties with increased crime rate and degradation of the property. I again agree with Dan that we'd like for you to vote not to have this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Lisa Hamilton, 323 South Ditmar. I was just up at this site this afternoon because someone else had asked me to take a look at this project. I also went to planning and looked at the plans and the renderings. This is a really small site to put 32 units on. And 32 units with 49 parking spaces is really not enough, because that means that there's 32 cars minimum, and I think pretty much everybody's got at least one car. That only leaves a few extra parking spaces, and that area is parked out heavily every day. When I was canvassing during the last election, over there in the neighborhood below this area, the most common complaint I had was, tell those people to do something about the parking. The people from the condos are parked on our streets. There's not enough parking. I bet I heard that 10 times over there in that neck of the woods. This is just going to compound this problem. This is a really small site. What's going to happen when they expand the 5? It's really, really close right now. And if you build on this, I don't know about those people that have to live right practically in the lanes. I think this is a very questionable project, although I really like Solutions for Change. I like their ideas. I like their 18-month university to get people to transition from homelessness to being able to take care of themselves. I like the idea of their having a drug testing rather than housing first approach to this, which housing first means that you are not drug tested. It means that you can move in with whatever substance abuse problems you have, and they'll deal with it later. Once you're in housing, it is considered the way to go. But Solutions for Change is not taking government money because they are not going with that model, and I think there's a lot to be said for it. But this is a very small site to put this many units. Thank you.
Any other members of the public wish to speak on this item? Now you may come forward. At this time I see none, Mayor. Therefore, the applicant has 19 minutes remaining for rebuttal.
If you wish to speak on 19 minutes, fine. If not, it's your choice.
I would like to speak to the parking. There was a parking and traffic study done by Lynn Scott Law and Greenspan, November 10th, 2015, and it states that the parking is more than adequate for this type of multifamily residential development. And also speaking with Dennis Bone tonight with Solutions for Change. He's been with the organization for 15 years. The typical dwelling unit is 1 space per unit is adequate, so it should not be an issue and should not impact the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to the, I'll close this public hearing, come back to the council. Deputy Mayor, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wood. Scott, I have a couple of questions. So I noted when people have conversations about projects like this, they say it's very high density or it's high density or whatever. So I noticed that you reported that the building to the west, the condo complex, is high density. And this project would also be high density, so they're both the same, within the same density range. Is that correct?
Exactly. They're in the same zoning criteria, so the density range is 29 to 43 dwelling units per acre.
And do both of these places have the same parking requirement minimums?
Yes, 1.5 per unit.
1.5 per unit. And, Lisa Hamilton mentioned the I-5, but if it's planned to widen I-5 from 8 lanes to 12 lanes, and I'm wondering that it would be in addition to access laneage that they're going to build there for Mission Avenue. So is Caltrans not set any standard for that now? We're just going to build it and see where they build the road?
Actually, there's been discussions with the project engineer, who's actually present today. But based on their current configuration, they've actually worked with the Caltrans division to ensure that, based on the future widening, that this project wouldn't be impacted. I can have Larry Taylor from Taylor Group explain that a little bit more if you'd like.
Maybe in 3 or 4 sentences, yeah. But not, full paragraphs.
20 words or less. Yes, we have had discussion with Caltrans. The plans have been reviewed by Caltrans staff. Their planning for the I-5 widening is pretty far out there. They really haven't settled on anything. But they did look at the project in the context of what their future plans are. They had no objections. They're just saying don't put anything in the right-of-way, which of course we're not going to do.
Yeah.
So in terms of the improvements on Civic Center, the bridge and the widening of I-5, they're not seeing any conflicts. We're going to come back to them on a couple of drainage issues. We've got a couple of different options to go over with them, but those are kind of the noise level in terms of Caltrans concerns.
That's great. Thank you. Could someone explain a little bit about what the impact of an on-site manager is to a project like this? Sean? I know that Solutions for Change operates with on-site managers at their current residences in Vista that I've seen.
Yes.
So I'm wondering.
Yeah, I'm Dennis Bone with Solutions for Change, and I've been there for 15 years. Yes, we have on-site property managers at all of our off-campus sites as well as our on-campus in Vista. And we have 2 affordable housing complexes in Vista. The on-site property manager basically is there to oversee the property, to do inspections on units, and also to do curfew checks and to make sure everyone is doing what they need to do within the program. Those who come into the affordable housing complexes are into the second phase. As was mentioned, we have an 18-month program, which is the first phase, the on-campus phase, and the off-campus phase is another 18 months. And we have on-site property managers as well as case management available to all of those residents as well.
So because there's an on-site manager there, and because Solutions has all kinds of guidelines that people must comply with, I imagine that anyone who is, I don't know what people do when they live in a place like that, but you don't allow people to act out within the property. And I know one of the other home projects that we have in Oceanside doesn't allow the residents to smoke on the properties. Is that something like an on-site manager would do?
Yeah, something like that. They would watch the property and make sure that everything's in order, and would also work closely with the neighborhood watch of the city. We have a neighborhood watch captain, I guess, who works with the city of Vista, who works with our properties and who comes on a regular basis to let us know what we need to do. That property manager works with them as well as our residents to make sure that it is a crime-free area. And that's what we do, and want to make sure that's the case for all the residents there as well as the neighborhood.
When I walked through the campus in Vista last year, I was really impressed at how everything was nicely maintained, and there weren't very many people around because I think everyone was working.
Well, yeah, most people are in the house by 10 and are going to get up at 5:30 in the morning to go to work and take their kids to school. So I will say that since I met with that neighborhood watch person last week at our Vista Terrace property, which is a 47-unit complex, he told me that that unit would be designated as a crime-free apartment complex, which apparently is a very big deal in Vista because of the lack of calls they've had. 6 calls in the whole year, and 3 were unrelated to us at all. So the property manager could be, we can attest to that property manager's ability to be able to keep that property well managed, and our residents are there because they want to be, and they're working on improving their life, and have done so for 18 months and are now in the second phase of ready to graduate that program and go on to their own units and to be fully self-sufficient and self-reliant.
That's great. Thank you. That really adds to my knowledge of the project, and I hope that other people who are listening understand that it's a very involved project. It's not simply we're building a building there and we're going to leave it to the random enforcement of the police department or some other agency. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Scott, can you, based on this being a 3-level project, it's going to be 10 or 11 homes per, on the footprint of it would be 10 or 11 homes on the ground, and then about that same number on each level above that. So it's really an 11 or so home footprint plus parking that we're looking at.
Exactly, yeah, because it's stacked housing.
Okay, thank you.
I think everywhere else. Councilmember Carney, please.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor, I have a couple questions. One is the grading. How much are you planning on exporting on that, since you're approximately how?
We've got a few thousand yards of export. The site actually slopes down a fair amount from Wetzel towards the freeway. We're filling on the southeast corner, cutting down elsewhere for the garage. So there's not a tremendous amount of grading. As has been mentioned, the portion of the site that's being developed is about 3/4 of an acre.
Oh.
So a few feet over 3/4 of an acre is kind of the grading.
And then the follow-up question to that one is shielding of sound from I-5. Are you planning on building any kind of sound wall, or? I'm sure it would affect the second and third story, but the first story one.
So Bill can address some of the building features of this. There's not a sound wall per se that is part of this project, but along the freeway boundary, there's nominally about a 4-foot high retaining wall going in there, and that's part of the drainage design of the stormwater management. We had to create a space to route water around the site, so that wall will provide a modicum of reflection of sound, some sound control. But primarily, and again, Bill can address this more thoroughly, all of the windows on the freeway side are non-operable. Essentially, the structure is its own soundproofing.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks. And then, and that's all. I just said thanks. Just to go back to what Ms. Hamilton said about the parking when she walked that area, it seems like Summit Village is the problem with the parking. I know in all our new condo projects that we approved, we require in their CCNRs that they cannot use their garages for storage, that they must park in their garages. I don't know if those condos have that same option there, if a lot of the people from Summit Village are parking on the street because they're using their garages for storage. Hopefully you guys can review that and just make sure that happens, but we can't, it's too late now for us to make that requirement. So the only other thing I would probably, I'm not going to redesign your project for you, but I just thought that if you had ground floor parking and 3 stories above, that 4th floor up there would have some pretty nice views of the ocean if you built it that way. But again, we're not here to redesign projects for developers. We're just here to approve the land use and the enabling legislation. So I'm going to move adoption of the resolution approving development plan RD 15-0002 and the conditional use permit RCG 15-0003 for the development of the 32-unit multifamily apartment complex at 402 Whistle Street.
Do we have a second? We have a second. Thank you very much. Mr. Feller, please.
Thank you. Marjorie, could you come down a second, please? You probably know I went kicking and screaming when we did Old Grove, and I'm curious what kind of that's many more units, but what kind of problems have we had there?
I am, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I am unaware of any problems that have taken place there. Our affordable housing projects are some of the nicest, best designed, maintained, and managed units in the city of Oceanside. And some of the units, that had police phone calls, on a routine, regular basis, that became affordable housing projects, no longer getting phone calls to the police department.
That would be the same with Mission, what do we call
La
it?
Mission, Mission Cove.
La Mission, yeah. And we rehabbed Country Club, and these are, La Mission's right next to a hotel, and I'm thinking that this one in Vista that we're referring to was one of their heavy crime areas at one time, and to turn it into relatively crime-free. Like I said earlier, this is a very large city that we're dealing with, and we're making something at really no cost to us other than the land, something that, and this isn't just affordable housing, these are people working through a process of going from homeless to producing citizens. So I think that is very critical for us to provide that. And I would think that just the buffer of the noise from the project between there and Summit might help some of the noise. There is a problem, and I know Mr. Manley knows about that, about some crazy parking, motorhomes, boats, what have you, in that general area. And there's a lot of parking around their building as well. So it's parking's going to be an issue everywhere we go. And these people generally aren't going to probably have 2 or 3 cars. They just probably can't have them. So I support this. I think you've got with Chelsea somebody that provides a great product, and Solutions for Change is saving a lot of people's lives, and I think that's what I'm most supportive of. Thank you.
Councilmember Sanchez, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, staff knows that I am very supportive of affordable housing projects. I have been from day one. And I'm certainly supportive of Solutions for Change. I understand that there's going to be on-site management, no on-site services, that services would be off-site. So on the one hand, I have the positives are that there will be adherence to one family per unit, I'm assuming, right? Is that correct? Marjorie?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. On the other hand, I didn't see any amenities for the families. I didn't see, for the kids, I didn't see anything on site for kids besides a one room. Can you explain what the amenities are for the families?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council, I'm Bill Hedenkamp. I'm the architect on the project. And to answer your question a little bit about the sound and the acoustics, those units that back up to the freeway.
I'm not asking about the sound.
Okay, orient to the courtyard. And the courtyard is the center of the community, and all of the units take their access off that courtyard. In the bottom of the courtyard, there's a tot lot. There's other amenities that relate to the office space in the common area. There's a computer room on the ground floor that orients to the courtyard as well, and other features to serve the residents.
Besides the
and
tot
kids.
lot, is there anything else for the kids?
I'm sorry.
Besides the tot lot?
The indoor area, meeting room, and the computer room and computer stations, they're utilized for homework programs and
All right.
other things that they run there.
Thank you. I've been around for a long time in Oceanside, and I'm very sensitive to what could happen to a neighborhood based on a high density project, especially if it's higher density than what is around it. Everybody knows I'm talking about Crown Heights. Crown Heights, when I was a kid, that area behind the high school was one of the nicer neighborhoods in Oceanside. It was a safe place. My parents felt really good about allowing us to go trick-or-treating in that neighborhood. Again, I'm referring to living in East Side and going across to a place that felt safe. We, the city of Oceanside, say we, later agreed to build these higher density projects. Now, granted, they were not affordable housing projects, but there are certain things that happen when you have a lot of people in one place, and it's not all positive. So I am concerned about the density, the higher density than the other multi-unit projects there that are market rate. I am concerned about the parking. I drive by there on a daily basis, sometimes 2-3 times a day, and the parking issue is horrendous. Parking goes right into the east side, and it is very bad. So reducing the parking is something that is problematic for me, as well as getting that many families into one small space. So I'm having a difficult time here because while I absolutely want to support this project, I think it's gone over what I would approve as something that would be a good standard, good conditions for families. To me, cramming this many people on a small piece of land, even with a tot lot, I was looking for something more for the older kids that, because there is no park nearby unless you go to East Side. Being that close to a neighborhood that is right across the bridge, to a neighborhood that has high crime rate, that has gang problems, that still has drug problems, that has graffiti problems, and then to be dealing with, other issues, and I would imagine it would be abuse issues as well, does concern me. So, if it had been, maybe not as dense, maybe 28 units, I don't know, maybe something more for the kids outside. Kids need to play. They just need to play. And just putting them in computers, to me, is not enough. So I applaud the Solutions for Change, and of course I applaud our staff for getting as much, when we talk about goals, trying to get as many units built as possible for affordable housing. I think we still need to care about the quality of life for families, whatever their socioeconomic levels are. And to me, this just goes beyond what I can approve. So I'm sorry that this is one project that I think is just, more than I think that would be sufficient for the families, especially if I hope that they will be succeeding in changing their lives. Thank you.
Please vote.
Motion approved, 4-1, Sanchez, no.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I've held the last two items, 34 and 35, to the end because it's a initiative and ballot, et cetera. I'm not sure anybody's here for it, but we'll start off. I'll take item 34 first and go from there.
Yes, item number 34 is here, public testimony calling for a property owner balloting for an assessment increase for the Rancho Hermosa Landscape Maintenance District, number 3-1982. Receive ballots from affected property owners, authorize the city clerk to initiate the counting of the ballots, and continue the public hearing to June 22nd, 2016. If necessary, in the event the property owners approve the assessment increase, consider adopting resolutions to declare intention to order the increase in the assessments, approve the final engineer's report confirming the diagram and assessments, and order the assessment to be levied. Alternatively, in the event the property owners do not approve the assessment increase, adopt a resolution to declare the abandonment of the proceedings to increase the assessment.
Thank you very much. As a mayor, I'll open this public hearing and ask for disclosures from the council members, please.
Just staff.
Staff.
No contact.
Staff only. Thank you very much. And with that, correspondence petitions.
All information has been provided to the council.
Thank you very much. Doug, I appreciate you being here. I've got some kind of script to follow here for this. And we had that. We opened the public hearing and asked staff to give us a report, meaning you.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, Doug Eddow, Real Estate Manager, City of Oceanside. The item is before you because the current level of assessments are not sufficient to pay for the costs and expenses of maintaining landscaping within the Rancho Hermosa Landscape Maintenance Assessment District. The assessments haven't been increased since the inception or the creation of the LMAD back in 1982. Prop 218 requires a vote of the property owners within the Landscape Maintenance Assessment District before any assessment can be imposed upon them. That's why we're here.
Thank you very much. Public on this end?
This is a public hearing item. Any members of the public wishing to speak on this specific item may address the council at this time. Mayor, I see none.
I see none. I got to say this. Any other members of the public wishing to speak on this item? I don't see any. Thank you very much. And I'll bring it back to the council and close the public hearing aspect and come back to the council, discuss this issue. And before I formally close the public hearing, are there any other property owners subject to proposed increases assessment who wish to submit a ballot? If so, they must file it with the clerk, city clerk, and this time. For the purpose of majority protest, only official ballots are to be considered. We had them outside, right?
Correct.
Okay, I'll close the public hearing and get back to the council on this, but you, as a clerk, have you tabulated any of these ballots?
We'll be tabulating them tomorrow morning.
Okay, in that case, at this time, I hereby direct the city clerk to tabulate the ballots. Will be tabulated on June 2nd, 2016, starting at 9 a.m. in the office of City Clerk, City Hall, 300 North Coast Highway. This tabulation will be open to the public view. The tabulation result will be presented to the council in our next regular meeting on June 22nd, 2016. Anyhow, that's the first one. And back to the council.
Move staff recommendation, I guess. Do we need a vote?
I get some help.
You could just continue the item consistent with the mayor just indicated, the June 22nd.
Fine, let's do that.
Yeah, that's not
Okay, thank you very much. Item 35, please.
Yes, item number 35 is here, public testimony calling for property owner balloting for an assessment increase for the Mission Meadows Landscape Maintenance District, number 2-1979. receive ballots from affected property owners, authorize the city clerk to initiate the counting of the ballots, and continue the public hearing to June 22nd, 2016. If necessary, in the event the property owners approve the assessment increase, consider adopting resolutions to declare intention to order the increase in the assessments, approve the final engineer's report confirming the diagram and assessments, and order the assessment to be levied. Alternatively, in the event the property owners do not approve the assessment increase, adopt a resolution to declare the abandonment of the proceedings to increase the assessment.
Thank you very much. Mayor, open this public hearing. Again, requests from council members.
Staff and we received a packet a little bit ago from the public.
I received the same packet and also staff.
Staff?
Same.
Yeah, staff and a letter from Mr. Nelson.
Doug? I'll give it to you, okay?
Good evening again, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, Doug Eddow, Real Estate Manager, City of Oceanside. This item is before you, again, for the same reason. The current assessments are not sufficient to cover the expenses and costs to maintain the landscaping within the Landscape Maintenance Assessment District. Prop 218 requires a vote of the people before any increase can be implemented, and that's why we're here. Thank you.
Thank you. It's time to have testimony from the public. Mr. Clerk, are there any speakers on this item?
Yes, Mr. Robert Nelson.
Thank you, sir. It's hard to talk to an empty room. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, long day since my alarm went off at 4:45. I don't know if I should present these on the board. Would that work?
Sure.
Oops.
You can orient them.
Okay. Honorable Mayor, members of the council, city staff, my name is Robert Nelson. I live at 1459 Belmont Park Road in the Jeffries Ranch community. The gist of my argument, as I've given you, is that we have poor management of this landscape maintenance district. For many years, we had a gentleman who retired about 4 years ago that was excellent, took great care of the district. The last several years, the management has failed. I have diagrams here, the city's maps that they've presented both at the initial survey to the community is different from the recent one with the ballot. We had a survey. The city did not provide the information back to the community about the survey results. I have spoken to the city's property management specialist, and I get different stories at different times. I have listed here in my letter that I sent to the city back in December through the consultant in Irvine that some explanation of some of the problems we've had in this community, where we have to report to the property specialist 3 or 4 times without action. We finally get action after maybe 6 months. Now, I happen to be probably the only one from the community that came tonight. I have quite a few neighbors that have given me support through next door, and just neighbors that I know. I have the guy across the street was trying to come, but he had a flooding leak. I see my time's nearly up. The gist of what I'm asking is I think the community would support an increase, but not 600 to 900%. And we need proper management. I have spoken to your property specialist who didn't know the boundaries of the property. She didn't know anything about the mitigation set aside. And I've got other pictures here where we've got a fire hazard along Belmont Park Road next to the mitigation area. Part of this assessment district was set up as a fire hazard management. and she's proposing that if we don't approve a large, very large increase, that the property owner that apparently has given access for the easement, and I have just another minute? Go ahead. Thank you. That they'll shut down the trails because this property owner that lives outside of the city will not allow this easement to continue. If you look at the maps and some of the comments I have on here, they're using a 25-year-old map. Spur Avenue has been gone, the extension of it, for 15 to 20 years. They show this property owner owning the playfields at Mission Meadows School. There are a lot of difficulties, so my basic proposal is try and manage it properly, postpone this hearing until you can review these issues, come up with a reasonable proposal, and present it to the entire community. Myself and a couple other people that have called, the property specialists, are the only ones that know about the threat of having the trails taken away. I've got pictures here that we're getting service once, maybe 2 times a year, except on Spur Avenue, where they like the maintenance guys. It's real easy to clean up, blow leaves around, and load stuff in their truck and get out of there. They don't go back on the trails because they have to haul the stuff out in burlap sacks. The former contractor brought it out on quads. They accessed it. The property manager doesn't supervise the contract. That's the gist of my questions. I do think the community will support a reasonable increase, but not a huge increase, and they have to communicate properly with the community. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sir, let me tell you, I appreciate that you came in here. It looked like you came by yourself representing the whole neighborhood, and I appreciate and I respect that. However, I go through this process and put it down, and thank you for being here. Anybody else in the audience for testimony on this particular item? Aye. Thank you.
My name is Maureen Stadenka, and I live on Palomino Court in the Mission Meadows district here at Jeffers Ranch. And I have to support everything that he stated before me. It was a lot of pride to drive into our neighborhood. Up until really this past year, it's been quite depressing to see the number of boards on the horse trails. The white boards are kicked out or knocked out or rotted out and not replaced. We've even had some community members go out and, on their own time, replace some of the boards, do some of the painting. So I don't believe that we are getting the service that we were accustomed to in the past. I recognize rates might go up for, and do go up, for all service contracts. However, the negligence of oversight has been very apparent in the last at least year to 2 years. So, as Mr. Nelson has stated, the neighborhood wants the beauty back and would support, from everyone I've spoken to, would support an increase, but a modest one, and that would be coupled with oversight of contractors. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and finish my narrative for this issue, but afterwards, if you want to maybe get with our property manager here, back there, and discuss some of these things, or you have any input on that, I'll finish it up. Okay, before I formally close this hearing, are there any other property owners subject to the proposed increases assessments who wish to submit ballots? Okay, if so, you must file with the city clerk at this time. For the purpose of majority protest, any official ballots are to be considered. Okay, official ballots. Now, I'll ask you, I come back to the council, I'll close the public hearing and come back to the council, same thing, continue to another date and time of June 22nd, correct?
And I think that's the staff recommendation, to continue to June 22nd so that the ballots can be tabulated beginning tomorrow morning, and then we can present the appropriate resolution to you.
Thank you. And at this time, I'll direct the city clerk to tabulate the ballots and announce the majority protest that have been made upon the questions and increase in assessment. Okay, he's going to do that tomorrow and get back to you.
Mr. Mayor, can I just ask one question before we move off of this?
I get questions.
Who hires the manager? Who hires the landscape contractor? It sounds like, so,
City
I just need that question answered. I don't want to leave here without figuring out, it seems like we have a problem with the contractor that,
Honorable Mayor, Councilmember Kern, Doug Edo, Real Estate Manager. The city actually hires the landscape contractor and oversees them.
okay, so,
And basically, the landscape contractor can only service what he gets paid for, and since it's running out of funds, that's the reason why we're asking for an increase in assessment. Over the past few years, the reserve has been depleted, so the service level has gone down from 4 times a month to basically 1 time a month, and it's going to go down even further without this increase.
Okay.
That's why we're here.
all right, thank you. I just want that clarified.
Go ahead, Phil.
So Doug, we're doing landscape there, but are we mending fences and maintaining horse trails as part of this?
Honorable Mayor, Councilmember Feller, in past years, we did landscaping maintenance as well as trail maintenance as well as fence mending. Again, because of the lack of funding, we've had to cut back on what we can and can't do in that area.
Okay, so I mean, I can't imagine how we got involved with fixing fences as far as the landscape in this, it just seems odd to me, so, okay, thanks.
Okay. At this time, I hereby direct the city clerk to tabulate the ballots. Ballots will be tabulated on June 2nd, 2016, starting at 9 a.m. in the office of city clerk. City Hall, 300 North Coast Highway. Tabulation will be open to the public for review. The tabulation result presented to the city council on our next regular meeting, which is June 22nd, 2016. Yes, ma'am.
After you finish, I'd like to make a comment as well.
I'm finished. Which one?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I had some questions too. I mean, we have testimony about the quality of the work and the supervision of the work. I'm being told that, well, it's because we have less money, and so it's being done less. It sounded to me, though, that it's possibly differences having to do with personnel, maybe, the folks that were in charge of the project. You know, I mean, is there really a difference in the cost? You know, for this to have just happened in the last, what is it, year or 2 years? 2 years? 2 years? Then I'm just wondering if perhaps there are some other issues besides the costs. I would really like for us to get a little more information about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, have we covered everything?
We've covered everything on the agenda.
Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate everything, and I'll go ahead and close this meeting, and it'll be continued to, June 22nd, 2016, a Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. Adjourned. Thank you.
Mayor Wood, I just had one minor announcement, and this is just for the public, but we've partnered with the San Diego County Registrar of Voters, and you can drop off your mail-in ballots this week at the library if you need to, just for the public to know.
Thank you. I appreciate that.